I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
We're exporting a whole lot of really bad and dangerous rhetoric, bad research, and unfortunately, it's being picked up and amplified in other countries.
It's the same battle, Mr. Myers. We've been at it before. They want to addict these kids, this time to an e-cigarette, which has a chemical that's addictive. We know what it leads to. Sadly, it leads to tobacco addiction, disease, and death.
I'm going to get you addicted to nicotine. I have a customer for life. We have hundreds of cases nationwide where people have gotten sick or died using these devices.
Look what they're trying to do. All the delicious flavors of e-cigarettes are poison.
They're not people giving up smoking. They're not people that ever smoked before. Most people that vape never smoked before. Just think if your kid was doing this and winds up with an IQ 10 or 15 points lower than he or she would have had for the rest of her life.
Addiction is being fueled by kid-friendly flavors and kid-friendly cool marketing. It is outrageous that these companies specifically market their bad products to kids. Today, right now, it would appear the wildfire of e-cig use among teenagers, high schoolers, middle schoolers has not let up.
There is a moral panic over it.
There is a moral panic.
And they can't find anything wrong with it, so they're hell-bent to find something.
We're worried that, in fact, a lot of members of the public still think that using an e-cigarette is as harmful as smoking a cigarette. So, I mean, I have said that it would be tragic if smokers didn't quit and carried on smoking because they hadn't tried an e-cigarette, because they were worried about the safety of an e-cigarette.
The most disheartening thing is still the anti-choice rhetoric, the desire to enforce this quit or die mentality and refuse to allow individuals to reduce their risk unless they're willing to give up everything.
I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Don't you just love that eagle screaming at the end there? Ah, wah! So, hey, what's going on? How's your Friday? It is Friday, right? Yeah, it is Friday. It's Friday. So welcome. Hello and welcome. I see that there are some people that haven't commented yet, but that are watching. Hello, people. Tonight, Kevin and I, and I'm going to bring Kevin in. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Patrick.
What's going on? Kevin and I had been talking about having somebody on because she's always in the chat room and she's always very helpful and I was talking to her about different tobacco things because Kevin and I are both tobacco vapors, but we're very different tobacco vapors. So she was helping us figure out what the hell we were going to do because, whether we want to be positive or negative or we want to, we would like to be able to keep vaping. And,
yes.
It looks like right now, like there might be less product on the market soon.
What? Really?
Yeah. So we have to figure out ways to do what we do, continue to do what we do, and to help new people become vapors and teach them how to do what we do. So we're gonna bring in the juice fairy herself. She's not gonna be wearing like a fairy godmother outfit with a little magic wand thing, and there's not gonna be any musical numbers during the show because this is not Cinderella. But yeah. So let's invite Jennifer Winstead to come into the show, and she's got a hyphenated name, and I can't say that hyphenated part, so I'm gonna let her pronounce her name properly.
Jennifer, fine.
I can say Winstead.
That's fine. That's what I'm known by around here. Anyhow,
nobody
can say Desangles.
Desangles.
Yeah. Desangles.
So
that's easy.
Desangles. Winstead.
Yeah.
Like the sunglass, really fast.
Desangles.
There you go.
See?
Winstead. You know, that just the one
It
is like
doesn't flow.
one's got flair,
Yes.
and the other one is just kind of Winstead.
Well, you know, there's a little spice in the islands, and then you marry a Southerner from North Carolina, and you get the bland part of the mix.
I didn't. You took it there. I don't want him watching the replay and go, "What did you say?"
He doesn't watch any of my vaping shows. He is a one flavor vapor that thinks I'm just crazy, but he accepts the crazy, you know.
Kevin's a one flavor vapor.
Pert near. Yep. Tobacco. That's what I like.
Plain old tobacco.
Just boring.
His is just strawberry. And let me tell you that just strawberry sounds simple enough, right? You put one flavor, strawberry.
But there's 800 different strawberries.
That's exactly right. And his is actually a combination of 3 strawberries, a raspberry, and some marshmallow, right?
See, that's not a plain strawberry then.
It's a plain strawberry. It tastes like strawberry. That's what it tastes like. At the end of the day, you know, you're just mixing compounds, wanting to get the certain notes from the strawberry that you want, right? So to build his strawberry, I have a specific percentage. It's a recipe, right? And sometimes I run short on a flavor, right? And I've tried mixing him with other strawberries and handing it to him, and he's like, "What did you do to my vape? It tastes like crap."
So that weird gay couple from Florida are watching right now. They just Phil just commented that they're watching us. They must be in the afterglow of their coitus, because I just saw that they were online as well.
Yeah, I saw that right before we came on.
So Phil and Demetrius are watching us to make sure that we're not naughty. We're in deep shit.
I'm gonna tease Phil really fast.
Cheers.
All I got.
It's kind of funny to me. Something happened today on the YouTubes.
I heard.
And what happened?
I'm actually gonna show something on the screen here, just because today the Surgeon General tweeted something, and then I responded back with a very witty and awesome response, and nobody liked it, which hurts my feelings. I'm very sensitive, and I really think that my tweets are awesome, and nobody follows me or retweets my awesome sarcastic tweets.
Nobody likes you, Patrick.
I didn't join social media today, except for this morning when I put my meme up about the hurricane that we have coming here to North Carolina.
Oh, we already had ours last week.
Yeah, I know. Well, I have mine coming next week by Tuesday.
Yeah, we had ours this past weekend. I had 2 trees to chop down in my backyard and bag up, and because it wasn't bad enough for the city to actually do like brush pickup. Mm-hmm. They said it wasn't strong enough that we didn't need to do that service for you. So just bag all your stuff up and put it in your garbage can. I have 11 50-gallon yard bags full of clippings and cuttings and limbs, and
wow,
they won't come and get it. I was very, very disappointed with my city.
We have a pickup truck. We just take it to the
yeah. See, I had a big truck and I sold it because it was costing me like $100 a week in gas, because I do home health, so I'm always in my car, and I got a little 4-cylinder like hatchback now. My wife has a 4-cylinder hatchback, and no truck. Is very un-Texas like. I'm very un-Texas like at this point.
Very un-Texas. Yeah, we have a big Dodge truck, and my daughter has an SUV because she wanted a pickup truck. When she bought her car, that's what she wanted. It was a pickup truck. And I was like, you don't need a pickup truck. And so it's too much gas. You won't drive it anywhere. And so I got her an SUV, and then I have the 4-cylinder little hatch.
I wish my mom had bought me a car once.
Ever? Okay.
Anyway, I want to show this humorous thing that I found on YouTube today. in honor of the weird gay family being in the chat room right now.
Oh, I like that.
And I'm here today with a public service announcement from the independent vaping industry. Today, I am going to show you how to make a face covering using a t-shirt. Now, you can use any old piece of cloth or any t-shirt. I chose this one because the U.S. Surgeon General is a fraud. And here's why.
In February and March, while the rest of the world was coping with the spread of COVID-19, the U.S. Surgeon General was discouraging Americans from wearing masks on both his personal and official Twitter accounts. I guess at that time he was more concerned with airline legroom.
Okay, all you're gonna need is a t-shirt and 2 rubber bands. We're gonna fold the sleeves inward. Give it one nice big fold from the bottom. A second fold inside, and one more fold. Now, all you do is take your 2 rubber bands, and give the shirt one more fold on the inside. And that's it. We have our face covering ready. Make sure that the fraud is visible.
In the short span of 3 weeks, the U.S. Surgeon General changed his tune, citing data and science, and is now encouraging Americans to wear face coverings, along with washing your hands and maintaining social distance.
So if you, Jerome Adams, the Surgeon General of the United States of America, claim that new data and science show that face coverings act as harm reduction for the spread of COVID-19, then you absolutely must look at the new data and science that vaping acts as harm reduction to illness and death caused by traditional tobacco cigarettes.
Vaping, according to the Royal College of Physicians, is at least 95% less harmful than traditional cigarettes and has helped millions of people all over the world quit smoking.
You know, Phil was very eloquent on that.
I'm going to do my part. I'm ready. All I need is a rubber band.
That was actually the perfect size for Demetrius, too.
Those fine folks, leave those people alone. Thank you guys, by the way.
And it had dual layers, so it was very.
There's like 9 layers there, so that's really going to catch any droplets.
That's better than.
What would happen if you had to vape through it to see if it comes out? I bet it wouldn't. Would it come out the sides?
It'd probably come out the sides, but as long as you're not standing right beside somebody when they exhale, you're not going, and it's not going to get their droplets. That's just the aerosol. The actual. The big wet drops of the germs are going to be caught in the t-shirt. So,
yeah, there you go.
Let's see.
That was perfect. That's the perfect size for Demetrius's face. I totally endorse Demetrius wearing that mask everywhere he goes.
Absolutely. It's harm reduction. We're spreading the Surgeon General's message. COVID stops with me. Wear a fucking mask. I think it's good. I would actually pay money to hear him say wear a fucking mask. Who, me or Jerry?
I hear you say it all the time. I want him to say it.
Yeah, I want to hear Jerry say it too. I mean, we just can't believe anybody anymore. We just can't.
I'm still confused.
They have screwed everything up.
I literally have not believed a thing that he said, beginning with when he refused, when I suggested on his Twitter that that they ask like healthcare providers to drug test these people that were testing for or that were suffering from EVALI, so to verify whether or not they were actually using THC products.
No,
and then we could get down to the fact of whether they were street purchased. But no, I mean, Absolutely not. He's like, how dare I? I mean, why would you ever suggest that we clandestinely? And I was like, I never said anything about clandestine. Tell them, hey, you're sick. We got to check your blood. Period. No,
Yep.
no. So I haven't believed a word that man said in the entire time he's been here. But to continue along the Jerome Adams theme,
Jerry.
Are you trying to trigger me? Because I tried to stay on social media today to not be triggered.
This tweet here from Jerry really got me going. So it says here, my teenage son says I'm ruining his life as all his friends are hanging out and having sleepovers and parties, and we're the only parents worried about all this. We may be wrong, or he may not be wrong. And it's kids gone wild when I look outside. How are things going with your kids in your neighborhood? So I felt it incumbent on me to reply to this.
It is incumbent on you.
It is incumbent on me. So, like, I felt it necessary to tweet in response, and my response is since our Surgeon General gave horrible advice in the beginning of the COVID-19 outbreak, and many ignored the mountain of available science that proved that masks work, making this pandemic worse. I agree with your son, Jerome Adams. You have ruined lots of lives. #fire the SG. And it saddens me because only 3 people.
Look, I'll go on Twitter and retweet that.
That hurts my feelings. I mean, this is gold. This is Twitter gold right here.
That's what feelings are for, Whiter.
People are missing out on the sarcastic gold comments.
Jerry, we will. Oh my goodness. See, now you got her riled up. That's a good thing.
That's the whole point.
And I'm going to say this again. Phil and Demi did more in 2 minutes for public health than Jerry has done in 2.5 years that he's been.
No. He's done public health. It's just that he's actually created a net negative.
Right. There you go. See?
He has done things for public health. It's just bad things.
Yeah.
He can I say it here? Can I use foul language?
If you curse, you have to drink. That's the rule.
We encourage that.
And Kevin has a sign.
He's a piece of shit.
Oh, that's a double.
That's not a drink word, but yeah, you can. Shit is now on the drink word for tonight. Usually it's fuck, but if you say shit, that's okay.
Okay, he's a fucking piece of shit. Hold on. I needed a drink.
You need a bigger straw.
Jerry's full of shit.
I got a good old North Carolina Mason jar.
That's a definite Southern drinking receptacle right there.
Southern drinking receptacle. Hey, you know what I found out? This is the lid of a corksicle, and it fits on the top.
A what sickle?
Corksicle. It's a wine glass. Never mind. You guys are guys.
I drink out of just whatever, and I don't corksicle.
And wherever.
That sounds way too fancy for my West Virginia blood.
I bet Fig would know what it was, though.
Well, he is a wine drinker.
I don't know.
Yeah, then he knows what a corksicle is.
I imagine, because he's a little bit frou-frou and fancy with all his hair products and stuff.
Phil has shared and personally thumbed up your tweet.
Well,
so he's got his thumb up your tweet. So there you go. How does that feel?
I shared your tweet. I can't see any of the comments on Facebook.
Oh, no, you can. You can. If you go on the right-hand side of your window, there's a thing that says live comments. If you click on that, you can actually see everybody's comments. Now, you can't respond.
Oh, there they are.
Yeah.
But,
So Ed West is also inquiring. I mean, I know Ed's a little slow. But I have to agree with him. Corksicle. So anyway,
it spells PORKCICLE.
Like icicle.
Yeah, so with a cork.
Not like sickle, like you're cutting. You're out there, harvesting souls like the Grim Reaper.
And if you're
not
from
that kind of sickle.
Yeah.
You have to be more careful if you have an East Coast accent when you say that.
Say it.
Coxicle.
That sounds a little uncomfortable.
Phil has his.
I had all kinds of imageries going through my head when you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you going, Patrick?
To hell, eventually.
I know. I heard.
If I don't change my ways, I'm going there too. So you'll have company.
All my friends are going to be there. So,
5 people standing around from the 70s waiting on Patrick. 80s, I can't remember.
I'm not old enough. 70. I was only 8 in 1980. I know you were already 40 in 1980. So
National. What is that? NAC.
Nope. That somebody asked me what my
there you go.
What my Twitter handle was.
Sometimes you have it on the screen.
Sometimes and I could do that, but I don't have Jennifer on my banners, and I need to fix that right this minute. But
you're just mean.
So Kevin,
what
have you been doing this weekend?
Oh my goodness.
Or this week?
This week? Well, I got on Twitter. I don't know if you know that or not. I like Twitter a little bit.
What the hell is a Twitter?
I know. I have to figure out which Chrome tab to share here. So this, and I'm going to hate myself because I got to share 3 different ways. This tweet here, I don't know where you guys are. There you go. Okay. So this tweet, it is not the role of government to tell its citizens how to live their lives. Prohibition has and never will work. Samantha Barrett, she's in Australia, and she's tweeting again to support her right to do so. So I thought that was kind of a neat tweet. And then you see underneath, I appreciate this tweet more than you know. Where is my share screen?
I don't know.
So then what happens after that happened was Ruth Malone, who we all
know. Ruthie.
Did you already see it?
No, show it me.
I have to figure out where my share screen is. She's a little testy this evening, I can tell.
It's a little button on the bottom that says share screen.
I know. I got to find the other tweet. She's getting a little pissy tonight.
Well, she is like 100, and the dementia kicks in, and sometimes they get what they call sundowning, so
right.
Their behavior changes dramatically in the evenings, and maybe that's what it is.
That's what's wrong with me because I can't find her tweet. Here it is.
Híjole. Don't make me go look for it.
Oh, ¿cómo está?
Mira, no empiecen a hablar español si no quieren que yo empiece.
I don't know what that meant.
Hold on.
I better quit talking out of church.
You got to rub that, Kevin.
All right, I'm going to make it bigger for you. And Phil and Demi are on, I think, still, so they would like it. Where'd it go? Skip.
Rub it.
Okay, so Samantha, as you can see that tweet, I'm assuming you guys can read that better.
You can take it.
This was her tweet that started this underneath Tobacco Free Australia, Swanson the retard, and the other 11 goons, including Ruth, was in there. So when Samantha says this as an Australian citizen, Ruth decides that prohibition does work, and we do it for all kinds of far less harmful things than cigarettes, like heroin. So if smoking rates were the equivalent of heroin use rates, we would be doing very well in public health terms. Now, I don't know about you, but I love a good thread. So if you guys are interested in that, go to Ruth's timeline and get that tweet, and it's probably about 6 or 8 down on mine. And just follow along in the tweet and the subtweeting of these people, from Charles Gardner to everybody else.
Yeah, I'm actually scrolling through her timeline right now.
Holy shit.
She's getting hammered. She's Alex Clark has replied to her. Gavin, she retweeted a Gavin Newsom thing. Clive Bates, she's tweeting over him.
Yeah. So I'm going to give a little backstory of this wench. When in about 2015, I thought, well, what a nice lady. She's the only one that didn't block me, right? And then A Billion Lives, I literally invited her to walk her down the aisle in Milwaukee, and she politely could decline because she's a wench. And then she was going to be busy, I guess. Phil and Demi weren't, going to let me in, so I couldn't go with them. So I went with my wife. And then I got talking to Bruni, and I got talking to Agent Anya as well about Ruth, and I thought this woman kind of gets it. And then I did a little blog about Alice in Tobacco Land, of course, because she's a wishy-washy wench. And tonight, as Cherry said earlier, she's shown her true colors, and Bruni was trying to tell me to begin with, kind of watch out for her, and so was Agent. And tonight was a great example of a tweet with subtweets, and you might have to click on and get a new screen, and you're going to have a lot of fun with that thread showing control. She is out of control. So I don't know any other Spanish words for that. I barely took Spanish, but
I didn't take it.
Hola. That wench needs to be smacked in the head. And that's it. I'll put her tweet up for you guys.
We got to get a woman because it's not appropriate for a man to hit a woman.
Well,
she needs to be smacked.
Jennifer will do it for us.
I don't mean by me.
So Jennifer, I'll show you a tweet that Kevin didn't share. That's from this particular person's Miss Ruth Malone's tweet. So here, I'll throw it up here. It says, it's the role of citizens to push the government to protect public health instead of protecting corporate profits at their expense.
And what I said over her was, I'll take the master settlement agreement for 100.
Yeah, you know what? I just do not believe it's the government's job to protect people from themselves. So I'm
in perpetuity, sorry.
Perpetuity.
I thought that was a very good tweet. And look, nobody's hardly ever retweeted me either. So there you go. I thought that was a thoughtful, provocative tweet.
See, I did. Look.
Ruth is a bit.
Retweeted it. Good for you.
Did you see Ed? Ed wants everybody to drink.
I can only drink so much. I'm an early bird. I'm usually in bed by 10, and I watch this show usually.
From bed?
We put her to sleep every week. That's great.
I fall asleep before you guys end, and I put my headphones in, and then I fall asleep somewhere.
Yeah.
Am I echoing? I think I hear myself echoing.
I don't hear you echoing.
I do a little, but not a lot.
Okay.
And Sherry's right. Michelle Minton, she's snippy at Michelle as well, talking about being young or something. Because Ruth is like, I'm like 100, and Ruth is like 140. And in tobacco control years, that's like 212, as best I can tell.
212.
I'm echoing too.
Echo. Yeah. So the reason, I mean,
you hear an echo, really?
I don't hear an echo.
Okay.
Does anybody in the chat room hear an echo?
I think it was with share screen. It's gone.
Yeah, I think it's gone now.
Nice.
Hello. So anyway, the reason we had Jennifer on, so Jennifer is kind of famous in the DIY world, and she was one of our friends and listeners to the show. And over the last year or so, Jennifer's been like grilling me about what I like, so that she could try to nail down my flavor profile, that so that she can help me out.
And let me just tell you guys that Patrick sucks at describing flavors.
I know what I want, and I know how to say it to myself, but sometimes it doesn't work.
You just suck. Plus,
well, but see, the thing is Jennifer didn't give up. She would send me bottles of stuff. Try this. Is this too ashy? Is this right? Is this dry? Is this wet? Blah blah blah.
I'm trying to get an idea of what it is you like based on. So I went all over the place with it to see if I can narrow it down and at least get us talking the same language. Because my language, my vaping flavor language, is totally different than English.
Well, and I used to
not a mixer.
I've worked in a lot of restaurants, so I'm using food talk, and it's not maybe the same. But
I guess it's sort of, kind of, but not really.
But so she did a video with Phil and Dimitri about a month ago, maybe, where they were doing like a DIY type thing, and that was a perfect.
Dimitri were doing that show on their own, and I jumped in because I was like, oh my god, they're gonna mess everything up.
Right, but you'd been working with them for, Phil already had all the gear, and he, and Dimitri, they've done it before. Like I tried DIY years ago. I spent lots of money on flavors from Italy, and it was, and I couldn't do, the old school like recipe thing was this many drops in the, this many, and I'm like, well, how does it know how big my drop is? And it was always like really questionable to me about drops and stuff, and I just gave up. But then when I saw Dimitri and Phil, and they both did two different methods of DIY on that show. So Phil used scales, and he stir, and everything's measured out in grams, and it just looked easy when Phil did it. So that gave me more motivation, or it gave me more motivation to try it again. So then I started talking to Jennifer about what flavors I needed to order to start testing stuff. And lo and behold, she was talking to Kevin as well.
Aha.
But teaching him a completely different way.
So was I also difficult?
The thing is that I try to tailor it to the person I'm speaking to, because DIY is just about that. It's about your own personal experience. So whether you're using drops, whether you're using volume, whether you're using measuring with a scale, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, as long as your end result is something vapable that's going to keep you off of cigarettes.
Right. Which I understood, but it was just, I was always like freaking out about the size of the drops from the syringe versus, and it would, that just didn't work for me. But when I saw Phil using the scales and everything was measured out, and he could, that clicked in my head. I can do that.
The scientist in you said, yeah, I want
and the bread baker in me, because everything's weighed and stuff when you're working it with bread. So I used to run a bakery, so that's kind of, I understood that. But then I started talking to Kevin. Kevin's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna buy, pre-diluted and do this and that, and it worked." And he's all excited about it too. So for me, knowing that there's going to be a lot less product on the market after September.
Well, for you, it should have always been a hassle, because with you guys being tobacco vapors, it's hard to get that at a vape shop these days.
Yeah,
or to be able to order it.
But I know people. So I could order from people that I know. I do, and I will always know people, but eventually, it's going to be harder and harder and harder. And this way, once I learn and get good at it, I can help other people do the same thing. Because, like I said, we've talked about black markets on the show, and we know that there's no such thing as a safe black market.
Nope.
Period. Well, it just depends on what your risk threshold is, what you call safe. Obviously, there's tons of people that mix at home that could mix for you and hand you free e-liquid because it's illegal to sell it, but could exchange e-liquid with you. That would be perfectly fine.
And I would say that it would have to be somebody that you could walk in their house, not just Joe Blow down the road driving down with, his ice cream truck selling.
Hey, come over here.
Selling products out of,
You looking for that bubble gum? I got that bubble gum. You got that bubble? You want that bubble gum? I got that cotton candy. You want cotton candy? I got cotton.
And it's something that if it's somebody you know, that if they cooked you dinner, you wouldn't mind eating at their house, because at the end of the day,
I'm a little obsessive compulsive about food myself.
Are you?
I'm very obsessive compulsive.
I am too. I used to work in a restaurant the first 15 years of my life, of my working career, were all in restaurants. So I'm still very, very hard to please at a restaurant. My husband, something as simple as driving up to McDonald's, and we don't eat at McDonald's, but when we are on a road trip and my husband says, let's stop to eat something, there's a McDonald's. What do you want? We're on the highway. And I'm like, I don't know. He goes, the damn menu hasn't changed in the last 20 years. What do you want before we get there? Because I'm not going to have you yelling at the lady in the window.
Pretty much the menus are pretty static. But Chris Carlton has a question. He says, I got a question for Jen. Does flavors go bad?
They get milder. So they lose. Every time you open the cap to a flavor, to pour it in something, you're letting a little bit of oxygen in. So with time, you're letting out the compounds that are in there that it's made out of. So they'll get weaker and weaker with time.
But they don't go. They're not going to turn on him and get him sick or anything like that.
They're not going to get you sick. No, they're just not going to taste right. The flavor is going to be off.
What about too much flavor?
Too much flavor can do, depending on the flavor. Too much flavor can mute a recipe, or it can just give you a lot of the off notes, and it'll take longer to steep. I mean, it depends on what you vape on. So people that vape on MTLs need more flavor to get that flavor through those type of coils, and I vape all kinds of ways. So I have my Aries, I've got my Dwarf, and then I got my big boy right here. And I mean, I vape all three of these all day long.
Her big boy.
Yeah, I love my big
boy.
And my big boy's pink.
That's there, Jimmy. Don't tell him. He'll come get it.
He likes a big boy.
That's a good. Watch out, Phil. The because
Phil, he just called you big. That's probably no woman has ever said that to him.
The mouth to lung thing is a good thing, because my wife, she likes strawberry. She has a certain brand, and she said, "Here, smell it." And I went, "Holy cripe! I don't even understand how she can vape it." And it's that strong just to my smell. And the company, I'm thinking, well, what do they do? Like 30% of it is flavor or what? But she's mouth to lung, and
it's probably at least 20% flavoring.
Oh, see, I was guessing, but wow, okay.
So,
wow.
In an unpaid promotional spot, this is the Aries 2.
So is this.
Designed by Phil Basardo and Dimitri Agrafiotis. Ours is very similar. Our drip tips are even pretty similar.
Yeah. I got a little longer. I added a longer drip tip to mine.
She got a little longer one in there.
Can you see it? I had to do it that way.
So in my Aries, I usually run about 9 milligrams. In this, I run about 18. And in this, I run a 3. So, I mean, I need my nicotine.
Now, you're the first person I've ever heard say they use 3 different strains.
It depends on what her setup is. She's got a dripper thingy there, and
I love that.
Aries thingy there, a mouth to lung thingy there, and I don't. The other thing is even more of a tight.
Yeah, this one is really tight. This is my cigarette. If I'm drinking, like drunk drinking,
she's getting her drink on.
Yeah,
this is it.
Getting my drink on, but no, I'm mouth to lung. I'm at 18. There are different devices. Some will go. The wattage is too freaking high on some of them with the tank. So I get 3 different levels.
I mean, Kevin, I think this device goes up to look, there's another Anakin product. We're not even paid by Anakin. There's a button here. You can adjust the wattage on these, Kevin. So even though this thing goes up to like 200 watts or something like that, I still only vape it at 15.
I'm at 3, dude. I'm at 3.
3 watts or 3 volts?
Oh, volts. I'm sorry. I'm back.
Yeah, and like
I was gonna say, there's a big difference.
I'm at 40 watts, but I'm only at 4.9 volts.
5 watts. And that's perfect.
What's your resistance on that coil?
I don't know. It's 1.7.
Well, that's 1.7 is
18. I'm sure I could boost all those numbers and go to 3. That's fine. I like it the way it is. Leave me alone.
No, I actually will. I'll tell you this, Kevin, because as a long-term vapor, I've actually done that where I've gone down to like 6 at a much higher wattage, and I was never satisfied.
There you go.
And that's why I vape all 3 ways, because
3 ways.
I like her way better than I like yours. Then
when I vape on this, I'm vaping for flavor, and I don't need as much nicotine at night because I just don't. So at night I chain vape a lot. During the day when I'm working and I'm only taking a couple drags here and there, that's what I use. And I've been working from home, so and then this one right here is my drinking one. I had to bring it because I'm drinking a little bit and I don't know if I'm gonna need it. And this has a menthol in it, so I like a menthol with my drinks.
You better fucking drink, man.
We give a sign and everything. Drink, people.
See, this is a menthol tobacco. It's a tobacco with vanilla and mint and
oh, that's the one you sent me. Yeah.
So I have a question, Jen. You described how difficult Patrick was. It took you probably 40 tries to get him to
I don't know. I just send him a bunch of stuff all the time.
It's all the time.
A lot. Well, I did at least 3 shipments, but in each shipment, my box was full.
Wow. So you asked me, mute yourself. So you asked me to describe which I had a difficult time doing because I don't think about it, but I kind of know. On a scale of 1 to 10, was I really, really near Patrick being a big pain in your ass, or did you just nail it?
Man, I nailed it on the first try.
She did nail it on the first try.
I nailed it on the first try because you described it. You said exactly what flavors you were tasting, not what flavors you thought were in there. Patrick is trying to get intricate into because what you taste and what's actually in there could be 2 totally different things. Like if you make a mango, I'm going to add orange to it, but I'm not going to tell you I put orange in it. You know what I mean? Because you're not going to taste it at the end result. You're just going to taste a nice, juicy orange mango.
Right.
So we have to take one moment.
All right.
To draw attention to the fact that Cherry Lie has announced that she has gone 1 year smoke free.
Yay! Congratulations, Cherry.
Nice.
And we love Cherry Lie. We absolutely are at her feet. Because she's in that year, she has done so much and gone so far into the advocacy hole that she's just so knowledgeable now. She probably knows stuff that Kevin doesn't know.
She probably does.
And she's a vapor that walked in a vape shop, got involved. I mean, like instantly. That is so hard to find. She's not about blowing clouds. She's about harm reduction. I've met her here in the chat. I mean, she's awesome.
Yeah.
She's amazing. But anyway, down the DIY hole we went. So, she was testing me. She was asking me questions, and I'm trying to explain stuff to her and what I'm looking for. And as somebody who used to work in the tobacco store, I used to work in a cigar shop. I'm thinking along the lines of, that this is the type of tobacco, like I'm looking for, a Seco or a, Maduro cigar flavor. And she's like, I don't know what the hell that is.
That's because you're being difficult with her and I don't understand it.
Yeah.
So
I just want to know what it tastes like to you.
So, I started, I ordered the flavors that she told me to order. Pretty much essentially everything that she told me to order is what I ordered. And I got my stuff set up and I made a test batch. And I showed her the recipe, and she's like, these actually are pretty good, but you're going to need to change these percentages here and here and here. And I did that, and I made that batch, and I was like, oh, this is what I wanted. This is exactly, the profile from, like, you knew exactly, you fixed my percentages is basically what she did.
And to balance it out, but the actual combination that you came up with was perfect in letting me. I just know what the actual flavors you were using, what their high notes and low notes were. So I just needed to move them a little bit, just so that you wouldn't get too much of this, so it would be balanced.
Right.
And you had to listen to every 19 words that he spoke or wrote, is what you did. Okay.
and this is the fixed batch. This is the first, I don't know, there's maybe 20 meals gone out of that.
Yeah.
So since last, Thursday or Friday, I dated it. Since 7/22, I've vaped this much of that.
Yeah, it's almost 10 days. Tomorrow it'll be 10 days.
So, and it was not perfect the first time because we did tweak the percentages or whatever. But once I had the stuff in my hands and I could envision it, like, she helped me make it a reality.
Right.
Which is, that's the type of help that I needed to figure it out.
And the point for me was, if all shit hits the fan and you cannot get something that is satisfying to you, you have this option. You could still have the option of at least vaping something that's tasty to you, to your taste, Something
right.
That will keep you satisfied and off the cigarettes, because I don't want anybody going back to cigarettes ever.
And literally, it can be as complicated or as easy as you want it to be. Like, you can do the Kevin method where you buy pre-diluted base and just add flavors.
I'm already going down the hole. Go ahead.
Or you can do the eyedroppers and measure with the needles and the syringes and do it that way, which is a little bit more.
Like me, that you make your own base at home.
Yeah.
Because I like being easy too. So I just blend my
four-ish blend.
Four-ish. That's right.
Four-ish.
It's a little bit more than 4, so it has to be 4-ish.
But
and it's mine, so who cares?
Kim Fuller, I'm gonna hook you up here. If you haven't tried Symmetry 6 from 5 Ponds, that is a strawberry rhubarb. You might like that one. And 5 Ponds does not sponsor this show at all either. But that is a strawberry rhubarb that I know of. That could be a challenge for you, Jennifer Winstead.
What, a rhubarb? I don't like
do a strawberry rhubarb.
Strawberry rhubarb is really good. I mean, there are several recipes out there with strawberry rhubarb. You just have to buy the right rhubarb, otherwise it's going to taste like celery and
this is why it scares me, is because I'm going to go and my wife's going to say, I want strawberry rhubarb. And she's going to say, this tastes like Pennzoil. And I'm going to be, I'm sorry. And then I'm going to go away and I'm going to call somebody else.
And you're going to say, Jennifer, hook me up with the strawberry rhubarb. And Jennifer's going to take you to the eliquidrecipes.com and find you the recipe.
Well, I'll tell you what, since this one says 623, but Janice, she took them back away. She's in a cool, dry place now, along with her liquids. There's like 400 packages that have come in the past week. So yeah, right
down the rabbit hole you went.
It could be like that now. I mean, it be like that, bro.
It is, because she's only using exactly.
Look at all that, and
she's got one flavor at a time. I'm sure she's going to start doing doubles, but right now she wants like peppermint or spearmint, or like there's a premixed candy apple pie or something. I don't remember now. And I smelled it and I'm like, oh no, not for me. But why am I going to bitch at her if she likes candy apple pie or whatever the hell she called it. I don't care. Let her do her thing, one flavor at a time, and then when she starts mixing them, then she's on her own because I don't know anything. So yeah,
you could ask for guidance though. You could. I mean, we know people. Surprisingly, we know more than just Jennifer. That's a DIY guru.
Yeah.
I mean, there are several people that frequent our chat room that are DIY people.
But I've never done that, so I don't know. I mean, I'm just not in that.
Paul is a DIY guy, and he's been on the show many times. And Leanna is a DIY person, and Jen's a DIY person. And then there's entire YouTube channels dedicated. You know, Jen does a show with like 3 other ladies, and they do a Vixen.
Mixin Vixens, and we even had Phil on this last week. It was hilarious.
Who?
We had Phil on the show on the Mixin Vixens this last Sunday. I had to do a pop in because I'm a master of mischief, and his picture was put in our group, and it got picked by one of the girls to make a mix inspired by Phil, right? And I know why she did that, so I was like, ooh. So I contacted Phil, and I was like, you gotta pop in. We gotta embarrass the hell out of her. So we all came on the show, and we all knew except for Ren. And I was like, and we had Phil on standby, and he had somewhere to go. And I was like, okay, we got to make Ren go first. And then, so we told her to go first, and she was about to talk, and poof, there pops in Phil. She turned all shades of red.
So was it a watermelon mango? Because that's his fashizzle is watermelon.
Because that's not what she made. Because we don't want to make what he's already got. Now we're all going to send him the recipes that we created in his honor, and then he gets to come back on the judging show and tell us what he thought of them.
There you go.
Well, I know that Phil's very nice, so he'll say nice things about everybody.
He is. I mean, we like it when the boys grill us. That's our most viewed show, is because we bring on the boys. It's 3 girls that do the Mixin Vixens. 4 of us.
4. There's 4.
And we do it every week. We create a brand new recipe. Each one of us, our own take on whatever picture it was provided to us. So every week we're pumping out these recipes. We've been doing it almost 2 years now. And there's 4 shows. Then there's a chit chat show that we have just where we bullshit so we could take a break from mixing. And the following show is I see Phil's comment. And the following show is where the boys come in and they tell us what they thought of the recipe they picked. And a lot of times they're like, this is a muddle mess, and they'll talk junk to us. Everybody loves to watch them talk junk to us. And I'm hoping that Phil's able to be a little mean.
If I was going to be inspired to make something for Phil, since I'm old school and he did like 8 million videos talking about Boba's Bounty, it would probably be some sort of Boba's Bounty ripoff because.
Yeah. And let me tell you that was one of the discussions we had before he came in there. They were like, well, what do you think about Phil when you first see him? And one of the girls was like, well, I think he's older or something like that. I don't know. She called him old. And then she turned around and fixed it.
Well, he did retire from New York and moved to Florida.
And then she fixed
That's
it.
That's where all the old New Yorkers go.
Manly. And then she said, he's manly. And I was like, yeah, way to go, girl. That's because he's in the back, green room in the back.
And he agrees that he is very nice. I love that.
It would either be Boba's Bounty or something inspired by Axe body spray.
That's terrible. I don't even know what I mixed for in his thing. I know I mixed something that will be vapeable for him.
Old fashioned there. See, there you go.
Old fashioned. That's what she said. And then she fixed it and said,
I've drank quite a few old fashions over the years, so.
I know what I said. I think I said that he was like bourbon because he's got that bourbon color skin right now with all that suntan that he's got going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bourbon. It's because, it's all that time in the tanning booth. He does have a tanning booth.
Peach bourbon is what I made for him. Peach bourbon.
Well, he maybe would like my bourbon apple tobacco. I don't know.
I don't think I put tobacco in it because I don't think he does tobacco much anymor.
No, he's a goober, but
what's wrong with
him? Sketcher flavored. Troop said.
Sketcher flavored.
Sketcher flavor.
Yeah, that'd be like vinyl and rubber.
Yeah. There's a flavor. Vinyl and rubber. Yeah. There's definitely a flavor. It's called it's Mary Jane. It's actually TFA's really bad attempt at making a marijuana flavor. It was really bad.
Here's the thing. On a side note here, most kids today they get a flavored cigar to put their illicit or horrible drugs in.
Well, they're legal in some states. Medical cannabis is in some states.
To cover up the flavor of the marijuana, the devil's weed. So yeah, I don't know why would anybody want to make a marijuana flavored.
It's awful. It's like burning rubber. I mean, it's terrible. It's like a skunk that got run over by tires that were squealing down the road. I mean, that's what that flavor. I mean, everybody should have it one time so that they know what not to do.
Well, marijuana
if I'm going to do that, I'm just going to go down to the corner and buy some weed and smoke the weed. Yeah,
the weed would be better. I mean, it'll smell better and everything.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna taste that, then I want all of the effects of that.
Yeah, well, weed doesn't taste or smell like burning rubber over a skunk.
No, that's true. That is correct. That is true. And some of it smells really good when it's good, good stuff. Oh, this is not a weed show. Never mind.
Yeah.
So how did you?
There was a crab juice once. I do remember that one too.
Holy crap! You tasted that crap?
Oh, I love.
I did not taste it. I was near somebody that was vaping it though, and it had an awful room note. I'll just say that.
I love crab. I love crabs.
Well, we talked about crabs last show. You're going to go to New York and get crabs. Everybody already knows.
I'm going to get the crabs, but I would never ever try to vape crab flavored liquid. I don't see that. That doesn't even make sense to me. That one doesn't make sense. I saw beer.
That's one of those guys from Boston or New Hampshire that's got that weird talk like that would probably,
And my son-in-law is from Boston.
That's a wicked pisser.
There you go. Stop it, kid.
A wicked pisser. So yeah, I mean the whole DIY. Really, I feel like we're gonna have to go back to the way we started. I mean, as somebody that started on message boards back 100 years ago in vape years, and there were people making stuff at home, and people would go on to the forums and say, "Oh, I'm looking for blueberry." And somebody go, "Oh, I got a good, blueberry. Send me your address."
See, Chris just said,
and that's how it used to be back in the day before there were brands. I mean, I can remember before there was a different, 8,000 e-liquid brands on the market, and there was maybe 3. And I can remember Johnson Creek. I have Johnson Creek shit from before there was a Johnson Creek because I said I liked tobaccos, and he was just sending out samples to people before he had a business. Huh?
I love Johnson Creek.
I know. We talked about Johnson Creek.
Xanda was my jam. It's my white whale that I never, ever got done.
No.
I never was able to get close enough. I do what they call. Can you guys hear all that? They're having a blast in my living room over there.
Oh, hey. I heard it. You're telling he has to drink now because he cursed.
That one. Hold on. They're laughing. They're drinking. Playing cards in the other room.
So Jeff
I don't hear furniture breaking, though.
No, that's a joke. They're joking.
That's a good time.
Oh God! I knew when they started drinking, I was like, "Uh-oh, this is going to be a rough show." So Chris Carlton wants to know: do I make a blueberry frosting cookie? I can. I don't have a recipe for that right now. It's something that's doable.
But you can do that quickly in your head.
Yeah, I mean, initially,
I could put it together in my head right now. I thought about a couple of things.
She was like, "Okay, I'm going to use a lemon cookie base. I'm going to do this." Blah, blah, blah.
No, I would just. I mean, for an easy one, it would just be Capella sugar cookie. It would be Flavor West blueberry, and I would use meringue for my frosting. I mean, then
She
I would
uses
have
meringue for everything.
things, and that would be it.
When we were going over the ingredients for this, she's like, "You didn't get meringue, did you?" And I was like, "No." She said, "That would be good with meringue." Like every time I say something to her, she's like, "You didn't get meringue, did you?"
Why are you so difficult, Patrick? Why do you give her so
I got
much
what
trouble?
she told me to get, man.
Well, I mean, the only reason I say meringue is because it goes really good with Soho. It's one of the easiest tobacco recipes on ELR. It's 10% Soho, 3% meringue. Boom, you got it. It's a tobacco dessert vape. It's kind of dry, but not completely dry. It's sweet, so it's desserty. It doesn't necessarily have to taste like tobacco. It's one of those that it could appeal to people that like bakeries or people that like tobaccos, because tobacco people know that it's a tobacco, but bakery people would not even think that that's a tobacco note in the background. You know, they would think it's a hazelnut or something else, you know.
So you could even fool me probably if I was.
You would think that it was a dessert.
Okay.
You would taste the tobacco in it because you like the heavier tobacco notes.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and everybody's come out menthol, but I have literally, and I haven't mixed with. I have an experiment here that I mixed. It's over 2 weeks old. I should probably tank this up and test this out.
What is that?
This is the absinthe blueberry WS23.
You should try it because I tried that one and it's really good.
And it's been sitting in this bottle for.
Patrick, do you have a fire extinguisher in that room, just in case?
Yes, I do, actually.
I was making
I have a blowtorch in here, too.
I'm worried about your safety and welfare, that's all. Okay.
Safety and welfare?
Yeah, I have everything that I need to build a Genesis atomizer in here, so I have a blowtorch in here.
Oh, yeah, I'm not going that far. All I know is I trust her and I don't you. That's all.
Yeah.
Because of his cooking experience, he actually did really well at putting flavors together that would go well together. And I don't know if he sniffed his flavors before he put them together, or if he just wrote them down what he wanted to put in there. But the smell, the ones that he put together actually go together. There's actually recipes out there with those particular flavors together in other ways.
Right. And if you, I'm so virgin pure.
No, you're not.
That's kind of like a drink word for everyone else that I've said all along. If you like the smell, the odor, the sensation of it, you're probably going to like it as a juice for people that have asked me what they should try. I'm like, if you like blueberry,
well, yeah,
and you like that aroma, then you're good. Usually,
you're 100% correct in that, because when we vape, we don't actually taste the liquid. We're actually using our sense of smell. Yeah. So it's mostly the sense of smell, especially when, a little bit more on the tongue when you mouth to lung. Hold on, let me see. Hold on.
Right.
What's the other?
And A Bastard has been in here. I'd like to thank him for coming in. This is like 2 weeks in a row, and I've never figured out who he is, and I love him.
And he did bring up savory, and I know that Jen loves savory vapes.
Vape savory.
I know that Jen loves savory because that's the way she is.
They have a pizza flavor. It's disgusting. And I had a lady who, for the longest time, kept trying to convince me that if I put pizza and pineapple vape, that it would be good. And I swear, I've tried that. It was a long time ago. It was at least 8-9 years ago. And I swear, I tried every which way there was, and that was just disgusting. That was not working for me.
Yeah, but everybody's palate is different. Brian just says that he quit 6 years ago with Captain Crunch, and I have not found a single cereal flavor that I would vape. I've tried many, and I'd never found one that I thought was worth a damn. But everybody's different, and like he might find a Captain Crunch that he thought was rocking. But to tell you the truth, I have even when I was a child, even when I was a kid, my cereal of choice was Cheerios, which is not the most flavorful cereal on the market.
And they have one that tastes close to Cheerios that I really enjoy myself. And I'm not a big cereal vapor. Like none of those Fruit Loops, none of that stuff really calls my attention. But when you DIY, that's the thing. You can make it your way. So you don't have to make it too sweet and you don't have to add all the other stuff. You can just have the plain bakery note in there.
Yeah. When Leanna was developing this for me, this is one that she made for me. It's actually gone. My number one rule was no sweetener. And when you and I were talking, I was like, I don't want to put any, and we were going through all the flavorings, and they were adding sucralose or different sweeteners. One of them had stevia. I was going through a whole bunch of recipes, and I was like, I'm just not putting that in there. If I make that one, I'm not putting that in there. I'm just not doing it.
I don't add sweetener to most of my liquids either, because a lot of the flavorings themselves already have either sucralose or fructose. No, don't get anything with fructose, sucralose or ethyl maltose in them. And I'm going to have a flavored. Anyhow, I was reading what Phil wrote.
I put it there so you would read it.
So, I mean, you don't always need sweetener. There are flavors. I mean, to me, the best sweetener, if you're going to use sweetener, if you wanted to taste like a shop juice, like something you'd get at a vape shop, you would just buy Capella Super Sweet. And you would use that at least at 1% for it to be shot, because vape shop liquid is pretty sweet. Like your traditional commercial liquid is pretty sweet. DIY liquid is not that sweet. So there's a challenge for people who start DIYing where they feel like they're not getting enough flavor, but what they're not getting is the amount of sweetness that they're used to. It subsides. So I always tell people, well, if you have to, and you're just now moving over, go ahead and use that 1% sweetener, and then start bringing it down little by little to try to reduce the amount of, because sweetener kills your coils. So if you're going to kill your coils fast, I mean, it's going to cost more. So you can little by little reduce it. Most people are happy at the 0.5 to 0.25% sweetener. I use Flavor West sweetener because it's just sucralose. It doesn't have any of the additional things in it. It to me, it's cleaner. It's just I'm a little bit of a purist. I have sensitivities to a lot of flavors, which is what made me DIY, was my sensitivities,
It generally loves orange flavored vapes.
No. All I taste out of any citrus is the actual acidity, the actual acid in it. So I don't get any of the flavor.
Yeah.
Terrible. And then what started happening to me? Things like strawberry, I started seeing the green note. It's crazy. Yeah. When you DIY, all of a sudden you got so many different flavors that you deal with. So the compounds, you start, a lot of times the way I DIY anyhow is by scent. So I'll sniff it and then I'll use it. So after a while, you start picking up whatever is in there that makes it taste like that. And then sometimes when you taste something for the first time, then that's all you'll be able to taste moving forward. It is terrible when that happens. It can ruin it for you. Somebody can suggest it to you and you're like, no, I don't taste that. Then all of a sudden you're vaping. You're like, oh shit, why'd you have to say that? Now you can taste it. And then all you taste is like the green part of the strawberry instead of the strawberry. You're just eating the stem.
Strawberry is one of those things that, like, when I started looking at flavors, there's 1,800 variations of strawberry, and then you're like, okay, so I want this strawberry from Pop-Tart. I want the Pop-Tart filling strawberries, the Pop-Tart strawberry filling flavor, or the Welch's strawberry jam there's so many different variations. I want a ripe strawberry. I want a, strawberry macerated with sugar. So there's just different.
Almost everybody is used to a very sweet candy style strawberry, and there's 3 flavors for that. And the thing with strawberry is there's a lot of people that are strawberry blind. The people that are strawberry blind generally like blueberries instead. And what people don't realize when they order strawberries, that a lot of times those mixes actually might have either a raspberry in it or a little bit of cucumber, depending on how natural they want it or how candied like they're trying to make it,
And a lot of people would never think about putting cucumber in there to add that
watery effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you don't know what's in the liquid that you're buying. You just know what it tastes like at the end. So their description, they'll describe this is a fresh strawberry in a field, blah, blah, blah. But what they put in it is not just a strawberry, guaranteed 100%. They could sell it like strawberry because that's the flavor you're getting at the end, but that's not what's in there.
Yeah, there was a flavor, or there was a liquid that I bought at a convention. Julie Wassner, both of us bought the same flavor. And we're at the event, and she's like, "Oh, this tastes like juicy fruit to me, like juicy fruit gum." And I vaped it, and I was like, "This tastes like quince." And she looked at me like,
probably quince.
And it was quince,
Definitely quince.
I saw that, and I said that, and the guy behind the counter went,
"Yep." Because quince is what makes that juicy fruit.
Yeah.
And most of and there's only 2 juicy fruit flavorings on the market, actually 3. And one of them, most people aren't going to buy the juicy fruit flavoring because it's got a lot of artificialness and some metallic note. I know that sounds crazy, and only a DIYer would understand. Some metallic notes that you can pick up. But if you buy the quince and then you add something to it, depending on what flavor
you
want to bring out
blend
front,
it.
Boom, you got it.
Yeah.
So you said alcohol, perfumey. My wife said perfumey.
Yeah.
This in the past. This smells very perfumey. What makes that do that?
Too much flavor. Over flavored.
And there's a lot of commercial e-liquids that I get a perfumey note from, which turns me off immediately. Now there was an e-liquid on the market a few years ago made by a very popular e-liquid guy. Back in the day, he was the king. He had fans all over the world for his green e-liquid. And he came out with this flavor, and it had a Middle Eastern name. And I said to him one time, I said, "This smells like potpourri to me." And he got so mad.
What? Strawberry? Was it a berry flavor? Or
no, it was some sort. It was some sort of. I don't know what flavors were supposed to be in it, but it was supposed to have like a Middle Eastern sort of.
Yeah, it was the cinnamon that did that to you.
And I was like, "Dude, this smells like a fucking potpourri."
And I can almost bet you I know what cinnamon was in there.
And I like clove cigarettes. I used to smoke those back in the day. That didn't bother me, but it was just the fact that it just smelled like my mom had just made fresh potpourri and turned it on,
Yeah.
So this was like roses and daisies and greens and.
Well, it wasn't fluid, but it was Maharas. I was trying to be all sorts of diplomatic there, Troop.
There's actually a strawberry flavoring from Inawera that nobody uses. And if you ever look it up, you look up the strawberries from Inawera, they'll have the worst reviews because no matter how much I diluted that flavor, I used 1 drop in a 120 ml bottle, it still tasted like perfume.
Wow. How did you start, Jen? What started you doing this?
It was an accident.
Okay.
Well, back in the day, I was vaping. Where did I start? I was vaping from Johnson Creek and Halo a lot. Those were my 2 brands that I used to vape mostly, and it was Vanda from Johnson Creek, and I used to like Voodoo from Halo. Those are my flavors. My husband wanted a Marlboro Light, and no matter what freaking tobacco I bought him, he did not get a Marlboro Light. So,
night, Phil. You and Demetrius, be gentle with each other tonight.
We love you. So a Marlboro Light is a difficult thing to find.
Yes, it was very difficult. So I set out. Well, actually, he told me he wasn't going to vape. This is the funniest shit ever. So he couldn't find a flavor he liked, so he kept smoking. And then one day he woke up and he said, I'm going to quit smoking. And I had been vaping for 2 years already. And I said, okay, do you want me to set you up a rig? It was the 510. I had the Ego pens back then with the plastic tops that cracked depending on what juice I put in it.
That happened a lot.
And anyhow, I said, you want one of these? And he was like, no, I'm just going to quit. He did not smoke a cigarette that morning, didn't have a pack. I was vaping, so he couldn't bum off me. And about 2 hours later, it was a Saturday. 2 hours later, he was huffing and puffing around the house, and I'm vaping away. And he says, give me that damn thing. That's how he started vaping, right? But I had the sweet vanilla thing in there. And he was like, this is disgusting. I want a Marlboro Light. And that got me on the hunt for a Marlboro Light. And I bought a couple of tobaccos, and I was on ELRs. I was on ECF. And ECF, I had been reading the forums, so I was interested in that. And I just ordered a kit, and and back then the most nicotine that you could get was 48 milligrams, I think was the standard. You could buy 100, but nobody was buying 100. Everybody was buying 48 milligrams. And let me tell you, when I started mixing, let me see if I find a bottle like the ones I used to use. I doubt it. I used to take, let's say, this bottle, and I used to fill it up with my 48 milligrams here because I was vaping at 24, put flavors, and then top it off with VG. There was no scale. There was no syringe. There was none of that. I was just simply and I was using, I think it was 10 ml bottle. I was just filling that 48 to right there, kind of eyeballing, and that's about half. And and I was taking my tobacco flavor, and I would just count out 20 or 30 drops in there, and then top it off with VG, and we were done.
What's really funny is I was going back on YouTube, and I found a video of Joe Castro, who was Flavors by Joe at one time. He went off and sold his business to somebody, and then came back years later as a different brand or whatever. But he was at Vape Rev, and he was doing a little video on YouTube where he was hand mixing flavors right there. And he was, filling little tiny bottles with base or whatever, and he was drip, 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 and he would shake it up, and he go, okay, there's, and you're just like, he makes it look so easy. And I'm like, why can't I do that? And it didn't work. But
and back then it was 20 drops to 1 mil, right? So if I was using a 10, and back there were no calculators. So literally it was a real calculator we were using, like a calculator, a handheld calculator, and writing everything down. And I knew that 20 drops equaled 1 mil. So that was, if I had 1 mil, that was 10% of my flavor in a little bottle. A lot of stuff was just single flavors back then, and a lot of stuff was from China, like a lot of Hang Seng and stuff like that. TFA and Flavor Art were around, but I don't remember buying my first Capella flavor till like maybe 2 or 3 years later. And I'm sure, and they were around. As a matter of fact, even when I started using Capella, they were still doing the Medifast diet, and they didn't want anything to do with vaping. But then all of a sudden they became one of the top brands for vaping. So, I mean, I've been around a really long time. I've been around so long that I forgot half the recipe. I mean, I just know stuff that I shouldn't even know. You know what I mean? Like, I got all these flavors were gifted to me. this last week, and I just don't have time to open them all and vape them all.
Right.
Just to single flavor test them, you know what I mean? And a lot of my flavors now, I know my flavor art backwards and forward because that was the company that I started with. I know TFA backwards and forward. I know what those flavors taste like and what percentages to use them on. But they have so many brands now that I have to try to catch up. But there's just not enough hours in the day. The flavors come out faster than I can mix them. Yeah. And I can't vape them all. I mean, and I can only give away, there's only so many team free shits around here, you know?
Yep.
And I'm on that. I'm on that.
My nicotine.
You got to.
But Ann Allen asked a question. What are your top 2 tobacco flavorings?
Mine, personally, I like Soho from Flavor Art, and I like Desert Ship. I can't say 2 because I like, okay, so here goes my list. Soho from Flavor Art, Desert Ship. I like Shade.
She's looking.
I'm writing. Hurry up.
I like Shade and Glory.
Glory, yeah.
And those are, and I like Cuban Supreme.
Yeah, so maybe buy that one.
I can. If everything else disappeared, I can vape those tobaccos. And for strawberries, it would have to be TFA Strawberry Ripe, TFA Strawberry Sweet, and Inawera Shisha Strawberry. I could live with just those 3.
Do you see a bastard's comment?
The ichrometer is surprisingly accurate. That's the ichrometer.
It worked. It's 48 milligrams, so it was roughly 24 when I was done with it.
And even if you're off a little bit, it's only a milligram here, a milligram there. You know,
it won't make your eyes water.
You know, when you're mixing with 100, that makes it a little bit harder. And really, I mean, you could still be brave and figure it out by percentages if you wanted to mix.
That's why this says 4-ish. You know, because I was measuring and I have it on my scale and I'm pouring. So I break down my nicotine and put it in. This is just nicotine.
Mm-hmm.
I put it in smaller bottles. And then I'm pouring it in there and I went, oof, a little bit too much. So I was like, oh, well, it's 4-ish. And I shook it
You're
up.
going to add flavors to it anyway, so it's going to dilute even more.
Yeah. And then when I go to mix, so I have that at a 4-ish. When I want to make my 12, I don't have to break out the nicotine so much. So my higher milligram liquids go in smaller bottles. So I just, like this one. This is a strawberry custard, 7 milligrams. I mean, I'm all over the place with nicotine, man. Depends on what I'm vaping on.
I love that. Now, let me ask you this. Is the flavor or is it the device that determines your nicotine strength?
It's the
or
time
both?
and the stress level.
Okay. I got you. I
So
got you.
And how much you drinking?
I'll put anywhere between 6 and 9 in here. And I'll put anywhere between 12 and 18 in here.
Okay.
In here, I do between 3 and 6.
Right. See, I've never heard of that before, and that's kind of stunning to me because I never thought that you would switch strength of nicotine.
Well, yeah, if I'm going to be chain vaping, I don't want to get nicked out, I just want to, I don't want to put down my vape. I'm watching a movie and I just want to, and I have a bad hand to mouth fixation. So it's either that or food. I'd rather be vaping. So that's where I use the lower nicotine levels. In addition to that, for flavor,
Yeah, my coffee keeps me from vaping long enough for me to take a drink and then I switch. Yeah.
I mean,
oh yeah, here we go. He sent this to me like a week ago, and I'm like, "What the hell are you doing?"
I don't even do all that, y'all. That went all out, and so did Phil. This is all I use, guys. This is it, and then I use my good old shaker over here, and I do my exercise. And sometimes,
well, Kevin does it more like this.
Shut it up.
I just shake it.
So yeah. So
and I do everything. Unfortunately, when you DIY, sometimes you get such a habit of shaking that I have fucked up and shook a soda before I opened it. Shook a bottle of soda, opened it up, and it went everywhere.
Yeah. My ritual is more like tap, tap, tap when I'm going to open, soda. I always tap the top of the can.
That would be normal. I just do that because I shake everything, like before I pour it in my liquid. Like, this is my big bottle. This is my strawberry coconut milk. This is my favorite flavor ever. It's one of my recipes, and that's what I have in here.
Let's see. Oh, there's another good question from Ann Allen. Patrick?
Oh, yes.
There you
go. A good company for a good starter kit, all of it together. I would have to say Liquid Barn. It depends on what state they live in, because there are some states that already can't receive nicotine. So some vaping companies aren't shipping. Some companies that have the nicotine and stuff, like Liquid Barn and Nick River, won't ship to New York right now. And I think that there's a couple other states. So, it's hard to say that you can get it all in one place. I would say I get all of my flavorings from Bull City. But I get my nicotine from Heartland Vapes, which they also don't deliver to New York. Or Liquid Nicotine Wholesalers has good nicotine as well. Nicotine, if you're asking about nicotine salts, don't ask me, because the only place that I have found decent nicotine salts was from Wizard Labs. They have good nicotine salts, but all the other ones to me sucked because they all tasted like some sort of they tasted very acidic, and I have an acidity sensitivity. Where people say that nicotine salt is flavorless and scentless to them, I smell it the minute I open the bottle.
I don't like it. I just don't like the way it makes me feel. I'm not going to say negative things about Nick salts. It helped people. Some people like it. I think that it opened the door for a lot of the criticism that we're getting because of the high concentrations. No. And the governors and the politicians and the people, all they see is the number on the side of the box.
Yes,
it is making fun of me. Is that isn't suck a drinking word?
yes, it is. It is now.
I mean, Ed. I hear Ed's a fan of that, so
I'm surprised he's up this late. That's crazy.
Last week we did the chicken wings, blowjobs, and vaping show. So
I know.
I didn't think that was going to be a topic tonight, but
and just for everybody's awareness, the cranky old broad is in the room now. So that
she is. So be on your best behavior because we like her.
Yeah, I don't know where she went, but she's in there somewhere now, causing probably trouble. I'd like to see her and Ed do a show. That'd be kind of fun.
That would be fun.
So do vape shops hate you?
I don't.
Why would they hate her?
They don't know me. You know what I mean? That's not what I do. I used to be a lot more active than I've been recently. Like, I went to DC and I spoke at our We Vote rally. And I've been, to me, it's extremely important that vaping survives because for me personally, the way I feel, I didn't start mixing first. That came later. I don't mix so that I don't spend money, because trust me, when you're spending this much money on flavorings, which I don't spend much on that anymore either, but equipment. You guys just saw 3 of my equipment. I mean, underneath this setup, I have a whole box of equipment. So I totally think that if vaping goes away, smokers won't be able to make the transition. I don't care how you vape. You can buy at a shop. You can DIY just as long as you're not smoking. Do what it takes. You know what I mean?
You see, Patrick.
I have a shopping problem, Patrick.
Patrick has an addiction
problem, and I don't use half this shit.
So you and I were at the rally. We never even saw each other.
I know.
Isn't that crazy? So yeah.
There was a lot of people out there.
So if you're there and you can do it yourself, and you still have the passion to help smokers who want to quit, you don't want to force anybody by any means, but that's pretty important. So I'm all for the vape shops, but as of this week or so, by next week, I probably will never walk in another one. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop yelling, screaming, tweeting, and bitching about it.
Well, the thing is that even if you're not walking in there to buy liquid for yourself, you know where to send somebody. You know what would be a good product to recommend. I don't sell equipment. I'm not even getting in the middle of that. I don't even sell e-liquid. These fuckers can kiss my ass because I don't have enough time to fucking make.
If somebody were to ask me what kind of equipment to buy, it would be the something like the new Anakin Z50 little device with an Anakin tank on the top.
Let's see, and then
they went to bed. So they didn't even hear the commercial.
I know is,
but this is a pretty sexy little device. I mean, it's small.
Yeah, I would recommend that as well, especially for a new person vaping. But I would also
for this light.
I would also ask them questions. So there's a lot of times when people will say, "What should I get?" And I'll say, "Well, what do you want? Tell me a little bit about what you." Tell me how big of a device you want, because I'll quickly offer up an AIO and tell them, well, these are really cheap. They're, $17.99 or $20. Yeah, the Z-Bip. But there's some people, my sister won't use a Z-Bip. My sister quit using a Juul pot. I've been doing this for over 10 years. And every year for Christmas, every single year I gave her a kit. And I'd give her juice every single year for 10 years. And all of a sudden last year in May, I think it was, she quit smoking. She didn't tell me because she wanted to make sure that it was going to work for her.
You wouldn't embarrass her.
Yep. And then in July, she tells me I quit smoking. And I was like, you quit smoking? How long ago? She goes, it's been 6 weeks now. And I said, you did? What are you using? You're using one of the kits I gave you? She's got like 10. And she was like, no, I bought a Juul and it worked. And I was like, and that's what changed my mind about Juul. All of a sudden I was that person that was like, well, I hated them, but if that worked for you, it worked for you. Now it took me.
No, you can hate the company and still think that the product is
decent.
Yes.
And it took me,
and that's where I am. Is I'm at the point where I think the company's worthless. I think that they've made a bunch of bad decisions that ruined or hurt the industry. I shouldn't say ruin the industry, but hurt the industry. But the product itself, is perfectly fine.
It took me like 6 months, and what I did was it took coronavirus actually. I sent her a what do you call that? It was a Caliburn. That's what I send her. I send her a Caliburn, and I send her juice again. This time I mixed it with half nicotine salt and half regular nicotine, because if she's using a Juul, she doesn't want any throat hit, right? So I mixed it half and half. I made a 24, and I sent it to her. She didn't use it. Well, coronavirus hit. She got stuck at the Keys because she has a house at the Keys, and she has a house in Fort Myers. And she was in her house at the Keys, and if she left the Keys, she couldn't come back. So she was stuck there with no juice. Vape shops are closed. Can't get shit. Mail is taking forever to get in there. So I was like, hey, you still got that Caliburn? Yeah. So then she started using the Caliburn. My husband went to Florida to help her with one of her houses. She's just bought another house in Fort Myers, in Cape Coral, actually. She lives close to Phil. And she's fixing that house up, and he's vaping his strawberry. Well, she ran out of juice. She filled her Caliburn up with his strawberry. Now she's on strawberry. So she's completely off the Juuls, completely off tobacco, doing strawberry, and good to go.
Nice. That's part of what it is about. What you said about Juul is extremely important. I had a discussion with a shop owner in DC on the lawn during the thing, and it was a good discussion, because I don't care about you as a shop owner. I care about access from the shop owner, and I care about the ability for them, the smoker, to walk in and get something that they want, need, like, and they're happy with. Satisfaction, taste, strength, and backups were the first three things I realized when I started. And if it's a Juul, it's a Juul. But then the vape shop can transition them into something better, like she obviously did. It's the exact reason why I hate the company, but I like their product any more than I do Heat Not Burn. I don't know that it would have helped me. So this is really good for people to know. I'm not against vape shops. I love my vape shops. I love these people. And I'm going to scream and yell and holler just like you have and Patrick has. So I want to make sure
it is what it is. I just want everybody to quit smoking. And it's been really hard road for me, being such an advocate vapor. I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years, and I'll tell you, the closest people to you are the hardest to switch over. It took my husband 2 years. I had quit smoking for 2 years before he ever picked one up. My brother-in-law, he's been on and off a couple of times. He's been on an on kick now for like a year and a half, and I keep up with it because that's my team free shit. All my testers and stuff, I call them. I'm like, look, I have like 40 bottles of stuff here. You guys want to come get some stuff? And they just come over and they pick through it and they take it with them, because I hate throwing away liquid,
Yep.
But I can't. I get sick of stuff really fast.
There's another question. How long? Let's pretend I'm doing it myself, or it's a vape shop bottle. How long does liquid last? Do you refrigerate it? Do you freeze it? Do you leave it in a cool, dry place? What do you do? What do I need to do?
Counter.
It doesn't last long enough.
And it doesn't matter. It depends. If you're using glass, it lasts a real long time because there's less oxygen getting in. If you use hard plastic, it lasts long.
Yeah.
If you use my soft squishy bottles, it'll last less, but it's still good for a year. I made this. Whoop, no date. It's a miracle it's on the label.
Something like this.
Yeah.
It's a glass black bottle.
Okay.
No sunlight.
Right.
I mean, that's going to last at least a year.
So there you go.
Patrick, I'd like to disagree with you.
Good. Say he's
Finally,
wrong.
somebody.
It does have a dropper bottle, and your dropper section does release oxygen into your bottle. So if you have something that you're going to store a long time,
this actually smells really good.
You should try it. It's really good. If you're going to store something for long, and no, I don't put anything in the refrigerator. It doesn't do anything to refrigerate it. Steep actually makes tobaccos better. A year. The only thing with long-term storage in these plastic bottles is, the threat or the idea that maybe the plastic, because you got chemicals in there that could degrade your plastic. But that's why you can do it in a hard plastic bottle, and you'll have less of that going on.
Right. So there's chemical reactions to different things, and oxygen, you said.
The enemy of liquid is oxygen, water, and air.
And air, okay. So there you go. And light, right? Probably for some stuff, maybe.
When they say light, they mean sunlight, because sunlight will heat up a room. I don't care. I put my stuff on this same shelf. It's all out in the open. It's not that serious.
Yeah. And keep it away from kids for anybody that's...
It degrades your nicotine is what it does. So, I mean, if you don't like throat hit, then, keep it as cool as possible. A drawer, a cupboard. I mean, I know that these are all flavors, but I have these same containers as what I have my liquid in.
Yep. Those look very familiar suddenly.
What does?
Those plastic bins.
Plastic bins. Janice is...
These are all liquids.
Yep. Janice is going to be smarter than me any minute now.
Janice has been smarter than you for years.
I was going to follow that up with a more than she already was, but thanks, Patrick.
Dude, I always will be defending the wives on this show.
He's smart.
But
you know where his cookies buttered.
That's right. She's more specific than I am. She wants certain flavors, and that's that. And I think she's more picky. And I guess I'm probably because of the tobacco thing. And my kids, when I first started, would say they smelled maple syrup with the one I really liked. I don't know what was in
maple syrup tobacco. Somebody in the chat room earlier said that that's what they used to quit was maple tobacco.
Yeah. Alan, I think.
Poet used to make a maple tobacco that was pretty darn good back in the day.
But I don't want to. I don't know. I couldn't taste it though. I couldn't taste the maple.
Well, it was probably just when you were actually vaping it, warming it up. It was probably leaving that room note where they could taste it, and your device might have been too low for you to actually be able to taste the maple in it, and you might have just been getting a little bit of sweetness from it. Okay. There are a lot of tobaccos that have a little bit of a maple note, and RY4 is one of them. Depending on what brand RY4 you get, it could have a maple or a caramel note, depending on the brand. And Alan just asked a question. What is my thoughts on proper storage of PG nicotine?
Sweet.
So it depends. How fast are you going to use it? So to me, this 120 mil of nicotine will last me approximately 4 months. Now I mix for my son, my husband, myself, and my brother-in-law. And when I mix for all of us, I mix a big bottle. I don't mix for me. I only mix one of mine is in a big bottle. And so that'll last me about 6 months. I leave it on the shelf. But if I have anything that I'm not going to use within 6 months, it goes in the freezer. And I have quarts of nicotine, and then I transfer what I have in use into this bottle that I leave on my counter. And it's away from sunlight, and this is a pretty cool room. And that's okay. It depends on how long you're going to store it. Now, I would do the same thing. I would always get a glass bottle to store your in-juice nicotine and keep out only what you're going to use within 6 months. Because if it goes bad, there's no fixing it. Yeah. And when it goes bad, it doesn't mean that it's bad for you. It just tastes like crap. And it'll be harsh.
Can I store that in the same freezer with my booze? Because I have a freezer right here beside my foot.
As long as you can tell what the hell is in it.
As long as I don't reach in and grab the wrong whiskey bottle, is what you're saying?
That's exactly right. Mine is labeled, and I've got how much? It's 50-50, 100 mil nicotine. It's not 4-ish. It's not 100-ish. It's actually 100.
So, Patrick, my suggestion would, how do I have to say this? I have to make sure it's right the first time. Don't drink your e-liquid and don't vape your booze. There you go.
Yeah.
No, because my booze is pretty high proof, and that would probably poof.
And this right here is my premix. So this is my 4 milligrams. I don't mind leaving this on the counter until it's done, you know.
It's pretty transparent and clear. If it starts to go bad, the nicotine will start to brown or yellow.
Yeah, and you know, this is in a drop. This dropper bottle is sealed. This is a pretty good seal that I have going on right there.
Yeah.
And when I bought bottles to put my nicotine in for mixing, the ones in the freezer are the brown glass ones, but I have these PET blue. They're dark blue bottles for yeah.
You just got the bigger ones, right?
Yeah, slightly bigger.
Yeah, I did see that trailer. Skip Murray.
Skip. We're gonna play that in a little bit. Don't jump the gun, girl. Everybody in this show is a backer of that program there.
I've got your tweet on hold.
Well, I'm just going to show the YouTube channel.
Okay.
One.
Fine.
We're going to have Aaron on the show again. I was tempted to reach out to him since the trailer dropped. He announced it last night on the YouTube on the Facebook group, and it was too late for me to hit him up because it was like midnight until I saw it. And you know, she's asking if you're holding her tweet right now.
In the palm of my computer's mouse, yes. Hey, Vaping It, I'm going to get louder by prompting you to tweet in your big voice. I just thought it was funny.
Tweet.
Tweet, Rockin' Robin. So yeah.
Rockin' Robin. So yeah, I mean the one thing about DIY, the DIY community, and I say this with knowledge that there are a lot of great people in the DIY world, but frequently and often I see people that are DIYers that may not be the vocal DIY people like you and other people that I know that are very passionate advocates. When I see like an advocacy post in a group and some DIYer will go, well, it doesn't matter to me, I DIY.
Yeah, I can't stand that.
And I just want to reach through the computer and throttle them.
Yeah, I can't stand that. Now there are rules in some of the groups for advocacy because there's actually one of the biggest groups in Facebook DIY is the DIY e-liquid e-juice recipes, I think is what it's called. I'm an admin there, and we don't allow any advocacy at all because it turns political and people start fighting. And we've had too many fights, so we do not do advocacy there. But we will put some CASA posts, but only admins can put it on. We don't let the people do it because otherwise that's what we get every other post. And people get political and start yelling at each other. And we don't talk about politics.
And you know, I've been known to administrate a few Facebook groups, and what always annoys me is when people don't check whether something is already there or not. And then they share it. And then when you delete it, they message you and go, why did you delete it? I'm like, why didn't you look and see if it was already there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially when it's a non-advocacy group that does put advocacy posts in, the last thing you want is to have the same post in there 10 times because it just screws up the flow of conversation. And, you know, it's annoying. To scroll through and see the same thing there a bunch of different times. So, you know, I see that a lot. Like, you know, even in groups where I share this show, like before I go live, people that come into the show will share it in the same places that I already shared it. And I'm like, I want you to share it, but share it in places I haven't already shared it. Because I don't administrate all those groups and those people are going to get pissed and start blocking me.
Yeah, that's what happens a lot of times. But I do not. I think everybody woke up in the DIY community when they realized that nicotine is being taxed per mil, and that they can't order their nicotine to go to their states because it's blocked. So they're like, "Holy shit!" I said, "I've been telling you guys for the last freaking 3 years to stock up. You guys aren't paying attention. Why do I have to speak? What did I say?"
You said shit. So that brings up a great little crawl in my ass. All of a sudden, the words are going to be Jerry-like. It's going to be, I told you so. I told you so, motherfuckers. I fucking told you so. And I don't, believe me, I love the DIY people even more so now. I'm understanding it better. I'm getting a feel for it. But it's everybody across the board.
Everybody just does not realize that this is going to affect everybody. It's going to affect absolutely every aspect of it, one way or the hell the other. I personally, when the shit started hitting the fan, and I'll drink in a second, 2 years ago, I started stocking up. I'm up to enough nicotine that my husband, my brother-in-law, and my son should be fine for 15 years. But I'm afraid that if that happens, I'm going to get some stragglers who are going to need help because they're going to lose their liquid. So I plan on, when it gets really close again, ordering another gallon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna order. I mean, I only bought the I bought the $80 bottle, I think.
You got a 55 gallon. One of the guys on
the $269 bottle. I got.
Well, I actually know somebody that orders pure and can dilute it for me if I have to in 55-gallon barrels. So
one of the Twitter guys, I can't, my hop. I can't think of his handle momentarily. He said he's got. I think he said he has enough for like 38 years for the both of us, him and I. And I thought that was very sweet of him. So
Now you may have to give him a reach around for that. But,
So, well, I don't know. There's a little line, Patrick. So
now,
people are.
Now what you're saying is if Phil or Demi had nicotine, no, you would cross that line. Is what you're saying?
There's a consideration to make, and we all have that line. So there are people that are going. You're saying 15 years. I'm assuming he's telling me the truth. He's got storage. Ed said he's had one long enough that it broke in his freezer, I think. I think it was Ed. So people are going that far out, but then your friend says, hey, I want to quit smoking. Well, now you have a little. You can try this. What's going to be left on the market are the people that get through the PMTAs. And that's it, other than cigarettes.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm going to have to do with the people that get through at PMTA? I'm going to have to go to a vape shop. I'm going to have to order each liquid so that I know what to recommend.
Right.
Because I don't want to make it for everybody. I don't want that kind of responsibility. I don't have time for that shit.
So I'm going to be the negative Nelly. I'm going to be the one guy in the room that's willing to say the stuff that nobody wants to hear. I don't believe that there will be not one single small open vapor company get their PMTA accepted.
Right.
Now there may be a few big guys, that are the Naked or somebody huge that will get their PMTA accepted. That doesn't mean that it's approved. That doesn't mean that they're going to get marketing orders. That just means that when FDA received your PMTA and they looked over it, they decided that it meets the statutory definition of a PMTA. And I will tell you, in my opinion, based on what they have done in the last month, when people have submitted PMTAs, that they're looking at them when you submit them. Not for the full gamut of information, but to make sure that the table of contents shows everything that they are required to have in a PMTA.
Right.
Now, I'm not an expert, but that is what it looks like to me because they've been releasing press releases when they've accepted them, which means that there's a process that you submit a PMTA, you submit it before the deadline, they look over what you sent them, and they decide whether or not it meets the definition of a PMTA.
Yep.
Considering that Juul announced that they submitted their PMTA this week, and it contained over 110 scientific studies, and I guarantee you that most of those, if not all of those, are proprietary research studies that they've funded, and we don't have access to that, so that we can't even look at it until the FDA posts it in the public forum. If they spent that much money, a lot of these small companies that are submitting a PMTA are not going to reach that bar.
Yeah.
And trust me, they spend a lot of money because they did one of those studies here in North Carolina, and they were paying each individual that participated, I think it was $1,500.
And I just really feel like that there's a lot of people that are trying, that are hoping and crossing their fingers, and I'm and I could be wrong, and I'll admit it. If somebody gets a PMTA through that's in the open system market, that's not a huge company, I will be grateful and thankful that happened. But I just don't feel like, looking at what's coming out of there, when EAS submitted within a short amount of time within their submission, FDA did a press release saying we have accepted it.
Right.
So if you wait until the last day and it's not accepted, what is going to happen? I mean, I don't know, but it seems scary to me that I can pull up a recording of the show from 2 years ago where I basically said, if you're not already submitting your shit for the labs and you're not trying to do the research now, you're going to get screwed at the end. And a lot of people waited till the last minute. I see a lot of these great companies that I'm friends with posting, questionnaires for people to fill out at the last. This is the last minute. I mean, really, this is the last minute A lot of this stuff should have
I
been
think
done.
a lot of people just really did not see how they could do this to us. I mean, I come from the vaping time when the only thing we had was each other. We didn't even have Facebook yet. We had ECF. We were communicating. I wasn't even communicating. I have an ECF account. I was not communicating. I was lurking the entire time. I've tried to change my name on ECF because it is some weird shit that I made up back then.
You were trolling before trolling was popular.
Yeah, I mean, because I was scared to say anything because there were a lot of people from Europe on there more than there were people in the States. Yeah. And I got my devices. I mean, I got my first device at some Indian little store in town, and then I got my second device at there was no vape shops, you know. Right. It was back then. So I feel like I was part of the group of people who made it what it is today. You know, I have in the past sold recipes to commercial liquid manufacturers so that they can sell it. You know, you release those, you sign away your rights to it. You know, they get your intellectual property, and you just get that one-time lump sum payment. And trust me, e-liquid makers, the recipe makers don't make a lot of money. And we're the ones that created that recipe that are making millions. But it was because we didn't know no better. We were selling that shit for what? $200, $300, and then it hits, and at least you're proud that you got people off cigarettes. And that I stopped doing all that because it just isn't worth it. It just
no
residuals.
After looking at the fact that Juul put their PMTA through, and you know that it contained 110 studies and it's over 125,000 pages long. You know, it inspired me to go back, and I've brought it up on this show before, and I actually sent the link to it to Kevin today to look at. The day after the initial language for the deeming regulations was posted in 2014, the very next day they released a 70+ page document called the Financial Impact Analysis. And this was in 14. This was in April of 14. And that same afternoon, they did a listening session where you could call in and ask questions to the FDA. And at that time, in 14, FDA said, and the document still exists. I downloaded it, sent it to Kevin today. They fully expect 99% of the industry to exit.
Yep.
And exit means go out of business. That's what that means.
I'm gonna link it for you.
The link that you have is the revised version that was done in 2016. Right. So they looked at the 2014 report, amended it a little bit, and re-released it, and it still says in that document they fully expect 99%, and this was in 2016. They fully expect 99% of the industry to exit.
Everybody thought I was crazy when I was telling them that was going to happen. And everybody thought I was insane.
And even then, in their analysis, they expected something like 250 PMTAs, and it's in the full document. Now, does that mean that they're only going to, that they expected to receive more, but only 250 of them would meet the statutory definition of a PMTA? Because, I mean, they're as far as I'm concerned, they're looking at what you're submitting. Right. Because I've worked in government. If all of your T's are not crossed and all of your I's are not dotted, they will reject it and say it's not correct.
A complete document.
It's not a completed document. So, I'm of the mind that they're going to scan these things. They're going to look at them on day 1 or day 2 or day 3. They're going to go through them as quickly as possible, not for veracity, not for content, just to make sure that you have submitted the bare minimum in each category that's supposed to be submitted.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get too far in the weeds, I saw Skip Murray say, "Hey, Aaron Biebert, So I can't tell if Aaron's in the room or not, but I hope I have his permission, because I'm going to go ahead and throw this on here, because today the trailer for the new documentary, You Don't Know Nicotine, it was dropped. That's the lingo that the kid used, that they dropped the trailer. So I figure since it's out, we're going to play it real quick. So y'all just buckle up.
People just kept on using it as kind of a substitute.
And no one knew the consequences?
Teens are already dealing with so much.
Panic has ensued.
As of today, we're declaring a war on vaping.
He lost his captainship and was suspended.
As we began this project, a massive wave of nicotine headlines swept across many parts of the world. The headlines were alarming.
This is an epidemic.
Total crisis.
They don't know what to do.
So we went on the hunt for truth. Smoking cigarettes is on the rise worldwide. The main reason is nicotine. We had this unsettling feeling that there was something deeper here. People generally know the dangers of smoking, but we wanted to know the dangers of nicotine itself, and why do so many people want to use it? Let's start at the beginning.
Nicotine is a long story, but what's going on in the brain? It's only in about the past, 10 or 15 years, we're finally getting a more clear picture.
New campaigns were launching in the U.S. to respond to the growing use of nicotine by young people. We wanted to learn about this new crisis from the people on the front lines. Social media was full of nasty arguments and half-truths, both for and against nicotine.
This is more emotional than scientific.
Prosecute them criminally?
Nicotine, I better move fast.
What do you know about nicotine?
I know it's not very good for your health. It ruins you.
It's cigarettes, and it's not healthy. It's like you get your life back. Nicotinic system.
Nicotine.
Nicotine. Nicotine.
Nicotine. Nicotine. Nicotine is a game changer.
At first, we were angry, and we were sad. The truth became unbelievable.
So, I mean,
unbelievable. And I do want to point something out with all this kid crap. I had teenage kids still. The whole time I've been vaping 10 years. I have a 25-year-old who had to be 15 when I started vaping. I have a 26-year-old who had to be 16. I have now an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old, right? That's their ages right now. So they've seen vaping in their life. None of them. Actually, that's a lie. My 26-year-old son vapes, but he was smoking cigarettes at 17. So that's the only one that vapes. The rest of them, they don't give a shit about it. You know why? Because mommy vapes, and vaping can't be cool if mom's doing it.
That's right.
That's true. You're not very cool.
It's lame. It's lame. And people shouldn't be vaping unless they smoked cigarettes. They don't mind that me and my husband vape, but they just think their friends are stupid.
There you go.
And
their friends probably are stupid.
I also say that I did let the one that's 19 now and the one that's 18 now, I'd let them both vape. Since I'm a mixer, I mixed it with 0 nicotine. Guess what that did? It killed the curiosity. They never got any nicotine, and they didn't want it again. They were done with it. It was done. It was stupid.
It's funny you say something like that. When my kids were about 12 and 10, we're going to go on the spirit of last week's show. I started talking about titties one afternoon. At dinner. At the dinner, we actually sat down and we were having dinner. And my wife said, "What the hell is wrong with you?" After they were done giggling and they went off, to do their thing. I said, "I just took the curiosity away. That's all I did. I made it easy for them to talk about it. They can snicker all they like, and off they went." Same idea.
You could talk about boobies like for 10 hours, and it still wouldn't take my curiosity away.
So I piqued their curiosity. Okay, all right, I got you. Same idea. She just took the same exact device and went, "Here, if you want to try it, try it. Go ahead."
And I have the ability of giving them 0 nicotine. You know what I mean? Other parents might have Other kids are buying it at the shop, and not having zero at a shop is terrible.
My dad, when he caught me smoking, he bought a pack of cigarettes and opened it and made me smoke the entire pack.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was one of those moms. I swear, not too long ago when I went and picked her up for the Rona. I got her from Miami. I was like, "You're not staying there. You're coming to my house." And when she was here, I actually said, "Hey, Mom, can I ask you a question? When I was smoking at 14 years old, didn't you know?" She goes, "No, I didn't know. I asked you, and you said it was your friends that were smoking." I was like, and that's why I don't believe shit my kids say.
Skip's angry with us. We have to get back on topic, kids.
Yeah, Aaron's in the chat. Say hi to Aaron. Hi, Aaron.
Aaron Beaver.
Yeah. Aaron's been on the show. Everybody knows that we've supported Aaron as much as we could possibly support Aaron, and I truly believe that this film is going to do what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to talk about nicotine. It's not a vaping documentary by any measure. I'm sure I saw some vapor people on there. I mean, Nick was on there and Matt Cully was on there, and that's fine and all well and good, but this is not, because as a nicotine user, and we talked about this a lot when Kristen was on the show. Yeah. That there are multiple ways for you to ingest or absorb nicotine into your body. Vaping is just one of them. Obviously the snooze, there's the nicotine sticks, there's all sorts of things. And I'll tell you for a fact, my brain works better when nicotine is in my body versus when it's not. My focus is better. My temper is better, for one thing. That could just be I'm a happy person, but your brain has we talk, you always hear people talk about, especially now that a lot of vapor people are going into CBD, that there's a cannabinoid system in your brain. There's a nicotine system in your brain. It's designed to process nicotine. So obviously your body is designed to absorb this chemical and to work in certain ways. For me, I know for a fact, because I can tell you, I vape 12 milligram. I started at 48 years ago, whatever. But 12 milligram is what I need to maintain where I'm at. Like, I need that. And I may not have to go and chain vape all the time.
Yeah, I'd like to say that I average at about 9 between all my different nicotine levels that I vape.
Yeah. But 12 is what I need. And I can vape a little bit and then go 2 or 3 hours and not need anything. And then I need to be topped off. So, I'll take a toot or two. But, obviously during this show, been vaping a lot, but that's just because I'm working on this. I'm managing the show. I'm talking to you guys, but nicotine is not the boogeyman. Nicotine is not some evil thing that we're trying to cram down kids' throats, because obviously Bloomberg, if you watch the intro to the show, Bloomberg says that if you use nicotine, your kids are going to be 10 to 15 points.
What are they saying? Are they saying we're all retarded and so were our parents?
So if I'm a genius now and I've been vaping or I've been smoking, I've been putting nicotine into my body since I was 12 years old, how smart would I be now?
Well,
if nicotine dropped your IQ by 10 to 15 points.
I work in a very detailed environment, in a very detailed environment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, everybody in this room knows. Everybody that, Yolanda's here, Bruni's here, Shannon's here, Troop is here, Darlene is here. Obviously Aaron is here. He said hello. Skip's here, Cherry's here. Everybody that's in this room, yes, we're preaching to the choir. But the problem is,
brainworms.
You have to spread the good word out of the choir. Like, you go to choir practice to practice, and then when you're done, you go out in the world. You're supposed to spread that information, that knowledge. That's the whole point of the show. We've talked about this many times. The whole purpose of this show is to give you information to teach you how to do what we do, how to read the information, to ingest it, to dissect it, and to pick out the truth so that you can go and spread the word.
Yep.
You know, are you guys doing that? I mean, are you guys out there talking to the people that don't vape? Because I'll tell you, I don't give a fuck about vapors. I've said that multiple times on this show. I don't do this for the vapors. I do this for the smokers, and I do this for the people that don't smoke or vape so that they don't attack us. They don't think that we're pariahs. They don't treat us like second-class citizens. They don't, you know, people that use nicotine are not evil. They're not dirty. You know, I was listening to a different podcast, and what's his name? Rise and Vape.
Logan, yeah.
Yeah, Logan. Logan posted on his Twitter, can we figure out a way to use a different terminology? Because you know, talking about clean, like, you know, you hear people that are drug users that have gone through treatment and they say, I'm clean now. Does that mean they were fucking dirty to begin with? Are they, right. I mean, is there a different way that we can refer to those people? Because we're demonizing people for being ill. We're talking to them in a derogatory way because they're ill. I don't like that. I don't think that's cool. I think that we should figure out ways. I mean, we should be hopeful and helpful to people that are, you know, substance abusers or whatever. So yeah, we need to figure out other stuff. I see Paul finally said something in the chat room. I knew he was here, but he didn't say anything until just now. So yeah, Paul disappeared. He posted something very cryptically on Facebook yesterday, and about a half a dozen people texted me, is Paul okay? Is Paul okay? I'm like, I haven't talked to Paul since this last weekend, so I don't know. Let me find out. And yeah. Yeah, you know, Aaron says the movie is for the general public, and that's what we need to erase the stupidity in the general public about this substance. I talk to doctors.
I'm afraid of his movie with the way censorship is going on social media these days. You know, right now, you know, social media is talking about you can't say anything that the WHO doesn't agree with. You know, what happens if his video gets said? We can't even promote it because it's, you know,
they already kiboshed the promotion of the last movie on social media. They already stopped it then. And that last movie was amazing. You know,
it wasn't about vaping either.
You know, so you know, I don't think it's going to affect that, but obviously with the COVID, it's really hard to premiere a movie in a movie theater when all the fucking movie theaters are closed.
Yeah.
That's the sucky thing.
This is
getting people to see it, getting people to want to see it, getting people hyped up about it.
Netflix. It needs to be on Netflix.
Well, you can't make Netflix buy it though. That's the thing, is they have to buy the movie to put it on their thing.
There they have the other one that they put on there. Netflix needs to buy it. We need to start petitioning Netflix to buy this movie.
You know, Aaron, I did notice that a lot of places, I know out in California, I was listening to a Kevin Smith podcast, and they were talking about drive-in theaters having a big comeback in certain places. Yeah, drive-in theaters would be great. I loved to go to the drive-in theater when I was a kid because I'm old and we used to do that. And you take your little hibachi grill and make burgers and go play in the playground while your parents watched Meatballs or Smokey and the Bandit. You know, those were cool days.
I don't know. I just hope that somehow it's able. No, you know, like when I post, I don't post very much about vaping on my personal Facebook. I have other places I post that stuff in, but I posted the trailer that he put out today. And my thing is, you know, good, bad, or indifference. I just want the truth, but I want other people to see the truth as well. You know what I mean? I don't want it to get censored. I want it
I don't want it to be pandering, for one thing. You know, that's the thing is a lot of people expected a pro vaping movie. And
I don't care about that.
that's not what this is about. This is about giving you information about a substance that people like to put into their body. If it's pro vaping, obviously the naysayers are going to poo-poo the movie without even absorbing the content.
I'm going to be mad at it.
Aaron says you can start a campaign to get Netflix's attention.
That'll give me a project.
I'm very, very, very anxious about this film because I had a brief interview with Aaron. I think it's 2 years ago now, 2016. So 2018, I interviewed him, and I really love that interview because I think Aaron's a genuine guy. I didn't get to meet him in Milwaukee, but talking with him and watching him here and there has given me some hope. I did a nicotine challenge a while back, and initially that was my thing. I want Aaron to tell me right or wrong, like Jen just said. We don't care, right or wrong. If I'm right or if I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, I got a lot of tweeting to do. I got a shit potload of tweeting to do. That wizard thing you showed or Fig showed the other day is nothing compared to what's going to happen. I also now have, there we go. I also now have a different anticipation for the medical side of this, where my wife has, I don't often, say it, and I don't need a GoFundMe right now, believe me, but it's beginning dementia, Alzheimer's stages. And I've followed Dr. Newhouse's work for a reason. So I've got twofold for this. And if he's right or if he's wrong, if it's about vaping, then I don't really need to see this film. In my opinion, I need to know what nicotine is and what do I not know and what do I think I know and where am I wrong. So this to me is a way bigger thing for Aaron to have this out than just, oh, well, we're right and they're wrong and kiss my ass.
Yeah, I just think that nicotine video is not like it is about the whole picture. So I mean, I'm looking forward to it, good, bad, or indifferent. I'm stoked that it's coming out.
Now, I threw a picture up earlier. I'm gonna throw it back up again of me and Aaron in 2015 at American Vapor Convention. Yeah, this was in Irving, Texas.
2015.
I just want to point out, look at the awesomeness of the beard, man. Look at the awesomeness of the beard there. But
Aaron doesn't even have a beard. What are you talking about?
Aaron is so young looking here. The last time Aaron was on the show was, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, maybe. And he had already aged substantially. And at this time, I didn't have nearly as much gray hair as I have now. So, yeah, it does affect us. What we do does affect us. But yeah, I mean, I'm a backer of the film. I'm in it to win it. I want this movie to be successful just because I put a couple dollars in it and I'm going to get a copy of it. That's what I got it so that I could get it for myself. But I would, when other people see it, that's the thing is the people that don't use nicotine, the people that don't smoke, the people that don't vape, the doctors. I work in the medical community and I bump into doctors all the time. And the pulmonologist here, who's in the hospital right now for COVID-19, and I argued for an hour until I pulled out the PDR to prove to him that nicotine did not cause cancer.
Right. The misperception of some things I do know, because I don't know nicotine, and neither do you, is what has to change. And then for the businesses, they can go to their Rolodex, if you want to go old school, or their address book and go, okay, here's Bob at the Heart Association. I just talked to him at one of my local meetings, and here's the tobacco-free kids guys. They need to see this film. Those are the people that need to see it. The grandparents, the parents, the friends, the cousins.
I just want it to be public information. I just want it to be public information, uncensored, the way it's supposed to be.
with real people that actually. I mean, I saw Stan was on the is on that preview.
I'm okay with that. I'm
is
all
on
right.
that trailer, and obviously Stan thinks he knows everything.
Well, he does.
You know, he's a rocket scientist, but apparently he's also a biochemist and a medical doctor, and you know all the other credentials that he
Stop
supposedly.
talking about that freaking.
He can also fix your plane. I hear.
You know, Jennifer, you don't want to be around that man though, because he'll be.
He'll touch my boobies.
No, he won't. He'll just glance at them.
I have nothing but faith in Aaron as a director and as an unbiased, in my opinion, storyteller. And with a brother as a musician, his craft is storytelling, and so is Aaron's. And not so much storytelling in this as it's a documentary, but if he's telling us what we need to hear, we don't need to hear it because I don't want to hear what I want to hear. When I saw A Billion Lives, I went, and it was hard to do for those of you who went. My wife could have cared less, literally. I bought the ticket because she wanted to go because she loves me, and that's it. She could have cared less about that film. No, I'm telling you. So when I watched it, and I tried putting a shield over my face to not know a thing, and I did learn a few things on A Billion Lives, period. So when I see this nicotine thing, that's kind of the same thing I'm going to go after is, okay, I'm going to pretend I don't know shit, and I need to be taught like I'm a 6-year-old, because that's what I want to know. I want to know everything he found out. And then I also get a copy because I'm a backer. So, yeah.
I don't even know if I am this time around.
I feel impotent. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna make him autograph my copy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was for The Billion Lives. I don't know if I've actually done this one. I need to go look at my.
You were at
go look at Kickstarter.
I was a backer.
Troop was at A Billion Lives.
I did not go to A Billion Lives because I'm poor and I couldn't fly to the other side of the country.
No, I didn't go to A Billion Lives. I was a backer. I was one of the ones that.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, but we'll definitely have to get Aaron on because obviously there's a lot of people that want to know when, and you know obviously it's really hard to decide when. But which speaking of movies, I listen. I'm a nerd and a geek, and I listen to it. So I did hear that a lot of movies that have been completed that have been pushed back for premieres in the United States are getting international release dates now, and they're just going to bring them to America later on. So all of those other people in other parts of the world that followed the rules and tried to be a good citizen and cover their fucking face and wash their damn hands and stay 6 feet away from each other, they get new movies and you don't.
So the Surgeon General being a fraud is part of that process.
Well, he's not only he's a piece of shit and a fraud.
He's a piece of shit and a fraud.
Poor Jerry. I don't think he'll ever come on now.
No, he's a chicken shit. He's been invited every weekend for the last 2 years or so, and he's never, ever, ever responded, other than to mute my ass because I busted him and I caught him in a fucking. Oh, see now I'm
another lie.
Pull your drink out. Why am I the only one drinking?
My drink is right here. It's empty right now.
This is a family show, though, you know.
No, it's definitely not a family show. I put the mature audiences thing on the broadcaster.
Oh my God, I'm looking forward to Aaron's film. I'm looking forward to the discourse because to me, nicotine is like masks. Why are we still talking about this? It's been around for how many years? What are you doing?
So stupid.
It's idiotic.
Human beings have been putting tobacco
in their mouths,
for centuries,
thousands of years. And maybe I am wrong, and I'm okay.
I'm not old enough to remember thousands of years. I mean, you've been around longer than me, but you know.
I get all my stories from Fig. I'm just smart enough to know that I'm not that smart, and I have everybody else reminding me of it all the time, including the wife. So when I see the film, I'm gonna know, you know. So
I'm gonna know, you know.
I just want to watch it. I just want to see it come to fruition. I'm just excited.
Well, I mean, now that I have
leaders.
now that I have massive quantities of nicotine in the room with me, I want to know what that's going to do to my body. So,
You just wash your hands.
I wear gloves. I work in healthcare. I have boxes of gloves here.
Good job.
So I'm going to throw Aaron's website link in the chat because I'm sure still talking to the choir, but his website, and I've been remiss, Aaron. I apologize. I haven't been on in a while, but I'm pretty sure you can subscribe. You've got Twitter is you don't know nicotine, I think. I'm sorry, nope, at no nicotine, KNOW. And
You're a disappointment. You should have had all this memorized already.
I know. Well, no, they're different words. So I'm going to put his Twitter as well.
And I think that in promotion of this, in addition to using the hashtag, the correct promoted hashtag, I always like the hashtag clean nicotine, which was birthed in a live stream that Aaron and Fig did a few years ago. I just like that hashtag.
Yep. And as a wrap for this, or partial wrap, it's also about snus and other forms of nicotine.
Yeah.
Because if all shit hits the fan, I can always go to. I mean, I have used snus on a plane before.
Have you? Okay. I never even thought of it. I just right over.
A few years ago, I was talking to a fairly well-known vape distributor, and it was like, hey, dude, you need to look at what you can do to start distributing snus to vape shops to diversify their. This was before CBDs.
Should have been that instead of the other crap that they have in there now.
And they looked at me like I was a fucking alien. And I was like, dude, I'm telling you, this is something that you should offer. And now all these vape people that have been vaping for years are stepping into the snooze world. And, Alex was on the show, and Alex is like, hey, I don't even vape anymore. I use snooze. And, I know quite a lot of people in the vape world that have been using snooze for like when they're on planes or when they're somewhere where they can't vape. Snooze
I'll tell
is
you,
good.
If for some reason nicotine becomes to where I can't get it anymore and I'm 15 years down the road, I'll vape zero and pop a snooze because I still need the hand to mouth. I still have a hand to mouth fixation. You know what I mean?
Well, and Kevin likes to do things with his hand too. But,
got it. So I had this idea a while back in like 2015, and I got laughed at. Why, if I had a vape shop, which I was not balls enough. No, I had already had problems before with something else. So if I had a vape shop, I would have a little patch box, a little gum box, nicotine in my vape shop. And then I would have the other items that were coming. And eventually I'd have figured snus out because I found that accidentally. I didn't use it yet. I'm going to eventually. But if you have the product and the person walks in and says, well, I've already tried those. Those don't friggin' work. What a great sale to spend $40 on a patch box that didn't work anyway. So, yeah.
And Cherry says that she tried snooze and it made her feel funny.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And I'm, obviously there's different things, but, we talk about when you first started smoking, you coughed for a while until you got used to it. And we tell people all the time when they're starting to vape, and they keep saying, well, it's too harsh. I need something. No, you need to work through that cough because eventually, that's why we got into the 6 and 3 milligram and the 1.5 milligram and all these people coming into the store and saying this is too harsh on their first try. And then the vape shop not trying to explain to them or remind them.
You know what I mean? It's also about the device. And
as a smoker, I mean, that the reason why the Zlide and the Zenith and the Aries are the way they are is because they're designed to have a similar draw to an average cigarette. So that mouth to lung, I mean, that's how most people smoked. But you don't go in to a vape shop as a never vapor, a current smoker, and go in and say, okay, I want a 40 millimeter atomizer with the widest bore drip tip that you can find with the full out open airflow. I mean,
and give me a couple of them screwdrivers.
I'm going to drill more holes in it. Yeah, I mean, people don't go into vape, but that's what they walk out with a lot of times, and it doesn't work for them.
$150 rig, 3 milligram, and they go, well, this ain't working for me.
I don't know why anybody would spend $150 on a vape device.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah, when we first started vaping, Patrick, you could get an Ego pen for $75.
I paid $150 for my first 510 Cigalike.
Yeah. Was it one or was it a kit with two?
It was one battery.
You also got a charger.
$75 for one battery with the Cardo tanks, and you used to have to drip the juice inside the.
There were no Cardo tanks when I started.
He's old. It was like in the 80s.
What were you using?
A 510 Cigalike with a cartomizer on the end of it, a refillable cartomizer. It was a proprietary cartomizer with a little rubber cap on the end.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I was calling.
Not an Ego style. This looked like a cigarette. This looked exactly like a cigarette.
It was white and big and thick and heavy. And
No.
you couldn't see it at the time because
It was the same size as a cigarette.
Wow. What brand was it? What was it?
It was called Smoke Everywhere.
Yeah, I had Smoke Everywhere too.
And this was their first generation. This was in 2010.
But you could pop that off, right?
And the little rubber cap came off the end, and you just dripped liquid into the cotton on the end.
That's what I'm talking about. So that's what I was calling a Cardo. I guess you're calling a cartomizer, and I was calling it a Cardo.
You said Cardo tank, and there were no tanks.
Sorry, my bad. It was the little.
Yeah,
the little
but it wasn't an Ego threaded thing. It was it was a cigarette.
It went inside on the other way around, like not like the way we have now. So it was like inside out.
Yeah.
Like instead of this, it was inside.
Were you one of those green foam fish tank people, Jen?
Green? No.
Okay.
No, I was using the. After that, we had the spring that you put in there.
I had a Crave very similar to that. It was all white.
Yeah, that's very, very similar to what I had.
Actually, Smoke Smart.
And then when you put the juice inside and you would puff it because it was, oh God, and you'd get juice in your mouth.
Yes, you would.
Yeah, exactly.
Same basic.
I still have it. This is the very first electronic cigarette that I purchased.
I don't have mine. And then if you get on a motorcycle, because it was auto draw, it would heat up in your pocket. So you, it was. Ugh.
Well, I love riding this motorcycle. Ooh.
Yeah, I didn't know why the hell my pocket was hot. It was the damn air getting in that thing.
Yeah, mine was the same thing. Is it still working?
Yes.
No way. Yeah, you can pop those open, Patrick. You big goofball. You can pop that little piece off.
Yeah, I got a whole collection of the little caps.
Yeah. Damn it!
Fill that thing up.
That damn thing still works.
That's exactly. I was in 2013 though, so
this was the second. This was the second generation. This was an Ego that used a dripping style atomizer. So this is the Ego battery.
Yeah, that was my second cigarette.
It uses the atomizer. That's a dripping style atomizer.
Yep.
And instead of dripping, you had these little cones that had foam in them, and you would drip into the foam and then put this on top of the atomizer, and it would drip down onto the atomizer.
And it lied. It did not really drip down in it.
No. Man, I'm surprised I found this. But yeah, so there's foam in here.
Awesome.
And you fill that with liquid, and then you put that on top of it.
Look at my drawer.
See that? So I went straight from the Crave for about 2 or 3 months, I think it was, and we went to an Ego pen with a CE4.
And this is an unopened Stingray dripping atomizer that I still have.
So some of you guys have seen these before. Mine was, I think, it was $9.95 for a disposable. That I remember, and I think it was $29.95 for a kit of 2. So I bought 2 kits right away.
Oh man! Oh,
What?
I found a whole bunch of pre-punched atomizer or pre-punched cardos.
Oh my goodness!
I haven't opened this This I have a tackle box that had this that I started with a tackle box and then moved into a full cabinet for vape stuff.
Skip said you can open a museum. He's old enough to be in the museum.
Find my crap because I have my stuff scattered all over this house. It's probably in my bedroom, in my closet. I have a box with all my retired soldiers.
And there's
these are business cards for vape shops that are no longer in business. Let's see, electronic sticks. Oh well, VapeNet was a Vapor's TV channel. These are all business cards that I got at events.
Yep.
Juicy Vapor.
There you go.
That's old school.
Never heard of those.
iVape. Vape Rev, which is no longer in business. So anyway, yeah, Mad Vapes.
Yep.
Mad Vape's still around.
Yeah.
So Emily said there was a tea bag filter trick that Julie Wessner had talked about with the carts. And Nicole said she freaked out when her shop ran out of her coils. Now she has 10 grand worth of coils. So, yeah.
Nautilus Mini was the game changer for me. When the Nautilus Mini came out, that flavor was awesome.
Well, I mean, I own about 15 or 20 kabuki tanks that use the Nautilus BVC coil. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I need to buy another case of Nautilus coil. So if anybody has a wholesale account and wants to order me a case and just send them to me, that would be all right.
It still is, Jen. Yeah.
Yeah. The Nautilus Mini was a game changer. I mean, for me, since we're just going to talk about old school stuff and we've reverted to content, we've gone through all the DIY content, I guess. Cardo tanks, for me, were amazing. They were a pain in the ass when you had to change the cardo after a week, and they would start gunked up on the inside, and
I tried the cardo tanks, where the cartomizer was in the middle and the outside had the plastic, because back then it was plastic, and then the 2 lids. That thing, it would leak on the outside, never get enough juice on the inside. I still had to use it the same from the top.
You didn't get your holes punched right.
Okay.
I didn't
have that problem. I did get condensation on the 510 a little bit, but yeah. I
just used it just looked pretty, so I would just still drip from the top.
Defeat the purpose. But yeah, I went to Lowe's and bought a pipe punch for it's a little thing you thread it onto the cardo, and you would turn this wing nut and it would punch a hole, and then you would rotate it 90 degrees and punch another hole.
Yeah, I'm the one that did all that stuff in my house, and I wasn't doing all that. I would buy the ones that had the little hole punchers, but they were
I was very upset the pre-punched holes were never good enough for me.
They were not good enough for me either, obviously.
And then they would laser cut them, and they initially it was just a circle, and then eventually they did a vertical.
I remember that.
Laser cut, and that was a little bit better, but yeah. But the vertical coil the Nautilus BVC coil was perfection. And I mean, literally, that coil design is the same coil that they sell now. Like the current generation of Aspire coils is the same exact design. Once they perfected it with that BVC coil, obviously they've changed materials and they have different metals in them.
I remember my failed attempts at rebuilding them.
I have a rebuildable Nautilus head here somewhere, and I mean, for me, being old and wearing trifocals, the coil is so small, I can't do it. I can't, because even the screw heads are so tiny that I can't even see the line in the. It's a flat head to get, I had a horrible time with those. So,
but you did.
I'll just buy $100 worth of coils at a time, or $200 worth of coils, or whatever, at a time. Maybe I'll offer Aspire a sponsorship if they'll just send me cases of coils every once in a while.
2 cases.
One for me, one for Kevin.
No, one for me.
Every time I give you a recipe, I'll send you a bill for some coils.
One for you and one for Janice. I'm not important in the equation.
But I use that same coil in my kabukis. I use them in my billet boxes. I use them, in my Nautilus AO all-in-one.
You know what? Skip's making a very good point, Patrick. Are you in the old farts vaping hashtag at all?
I'm
epitome.
I'm probably one of the original old fart vaping.
There you go. I think Charles Gardner.
I know there's people that have been vaping longer than me, but I'm like the grumpy old guy that doesn't like to change.
Yeah.
I literally vape the same way now that I vaped when I started. Yeah. Literally the same exact formula.
Yeah.
I vape at 15 to 18 watts. What most people would consider high resistance, even though when I started, low resistance was 1.8 ohms.
Yeah, high resistance was 2.4.
2.2, 2.4.
I like the 1.6 and 1.8. I like those.
So
because I'm a groovy old bastard. Yeah.
I remember the first time I billed at a 0.5, I was like, am I gonna blow up?
Well, yeah. And obviously old guys like me, here, I'll get one down.
And Skip, the cranky old broad, is still in the room, so be nice.
Don't be calling her a broad, sir. That's not very nice.
Yeah, you'll get over it. If I didn't call her that, she'd probably get pissed off at me. So there's the drinking word. Snuck that one in just for fun. So to my knowledge, Jen, since I've joined the show, I don't think we've ever had this long a discussion about DIY.
Probably
never had to talk about DIY.
We're the devils of vaping, DIYers are, and nobody wants anything to do with us.
So this is a kabuki tank.
Yeah.
So this is actually designed to only be used with the 1.6 ohm Nautilus coil. Because originally when these were created, the idea was that the batteries didn't like anything below 1 ohm, and we were always taught that's not safe for a lot of the batteries. So
it won't even turn on sometimes if it was under 1.
Well, no, the Provari won't. If I take this kabuki and I put the 0.7 ohm Nautilus coil in this, and then put it in an old Provari, it won't fire.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You guys lost me because I didn't even know any of this stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
we had plenty of stuff that wouldn't fire if you didn't have
the Provari wouldn't fire below 1 ohm until the P3 came out.
Wow.
So the P2.5, the Provari Mini the Provari, not mini, the Provari 3, the P3 and the Radius were the only ones that were designed to allow you to vape below 1 ohm.
Okay.
So yeah, that that was their rule. I mean, they designed that thing to be used with the button top AW-IMR batteries or AW batteries. Yeah. So, nobody would ever even have thought to sub-ohm until like the sub-ohm tanks started coming out, and then all the hardware had to change. And the reason Provari was in their lane. Provari never wanted to play the wattage wars. They didn't think that people needed 150, 200, 500, however many watts a lot of these devices go to now. So that device was never, they didn't feel like you needed that. So they didn't make a device for that. And that's one of the reasons why they're not here anymore, is because the market was created by hype, and the hype was sub-ohming, more clouds, more power. Very American, we like more power. We like to grunt and
More is more.
And I own, I don't know, 15 different Provari devices, and I'm happy with them because I don't need more power. I'm happy where I'm at. So yeah,
I like the warmth. I don't know. It's for flavor that I use my.
I mean, there's a huge difference between hot vape and throat hit, and a lot of people get those confused all the time. Very different sensation. It's not a hot vape. I don't want a hot vape. I want throat hit. And Demetrius and Phil and I, we all vape pretty similarly. I mean, we all vape within about a couple watts of each other. We all vape about 12 milligram, depending on, Demetrius will go down or go up depending on if it's a nicotine salt or a hybrid or whatever. But we all fall within a certain category, and we all been around about the same amount of time.
Me, I don't use disposable coils often at all. I build all my stuff. Even this is a rebuildable. Even my MTLs are all rebuildable, and then my sub-ohm is rebuildable.
I mean,
that's because I come from that era, and I build my coils ahead of time, But I also cheat. I buy coils that are already made for some of them. I don't like the pre-made coils as much as I do my own.
I mean, I've got 5K funds right here. These are all rebuildables. But for convenience and stuff, I tend to go to, this is the Slide, or this is an Aries. This is rebuildable, but depending on where I'm at and what I'm going to do, and if I know I'm going to be away from the house and I don't want to carry cotton with me and stuff, and I always, carry a couple coils.
Yeah, and I just carry a couple mods.
You guys just hit a couple things that I didn't know when I started. I would have never done a direct lung hit, even on accident, in my life. I didn't know anyone did it. I took my boss to go to a vape shop, and she did that. She went and she started hacking. And she's a lifelong menthol heavy smoker, and she's hacking up a freaking lung. They give her a free bottle of water, and she's like, "Fuck this, I'm out of here." I never even knew people direct lung vaped.
That's important too. That's highly important for conversion. Whenever I was trying to help a friend convert, I would say, "Let me see you smoke," and I would watch them before I would tell them what device they needed to get. I would watch how they were intaking, because if they were a direct lung smoker, the ones that take a cigarette and just burns it up, those are direct lung smokers. They needed a little more air. That doesn't mean that they needed a big 810 grip tip and all that stuff. It could still be an MTL, but it needed to be able to have the option for them to have more air.
Yep. Didn't know it. When my son did it,
his direct lung.
Yeah. When I asked my son, one of my sons direct lung hit his cigarette. I'm like, this is stunning to me. This is new this is breaking news. All the years I smoked, I never thought of doing that. And that's okay. I'm not doubting it, and I'm not knocking it. I was just like, wow, this is crazy. This is why tobacco control doesn't understand this, because there are so many variables that you guys just talked about that is out of my league even. And I'm not that I'm the king of anything in vaping, but there are so many levels of direct lung, watts, volts.
My husband's a direct lung vapor all the time, but he likes a tight direct lung. So his tank has to have tightness. I have a drip tip on it that has on the inside, even though he's using a 510, it has a filter kind of at the bottom with little holes, so it restricts the amount, but that way he can still direct lung in.
Right. So the innovation that tobacco control is just saying, here's a patch, keep trying, is I don't know who said, I think it was Greg said it's 1900, this a century old technology, and we're way into the 21st century, and they can't keep up with us. And then we can't keep up with ourselves, including me, for quite a while. I didn't know anything about that. Nothing. I've never built a coil. I don't know shit about it. I just, as long as I stick this thing in here and I get what I want, I'm a happy guy.
That's all you need. That's all you need. You only need what puts you off cigarettes.
Right, and it's a hobby for others, and they love that. It's no different to me than a train set or coin collectors or anything else.
Right, DIY for me is a hobby, and I know it's a hobby that's taken over my life. I have a whole bedroom dedicated to it. When the boys moved out, this became my vape room.
I can't wait till my boys move out. I've got a Billion Lives poster to put up. I've got a few. Anyway. I've got my bot signs.
When my kids get 18, they're ready to get the hell out. There are too many rules in this house.
I just was going through the cabinet and I found a device that has engraving that goes with the Aries engraving pretty well. I'm like, oh, this is pretty.
You've got custom ones, don't you? Don't you have like a one of a kind something or other?
Well, yeah, the kabuki that I just the kabuki that I just had is a hand engraved, nickel plated brass Zen mod.
See, Nicole
there's only one of these on the planet Earth.
There you go. I'm a coin collector. Nicole's a coil collector.
I'm a screwdriver collector and a bottle collector.
I have a couple thousand of the little blue ones.
Those are tobacco products, people. So act accordingly, will you? Please, thank you.
I'm waiting for China to submit a PMTA for the blue screwdrivers. We should ask Demetrius and Phil, since they have custom made coil building tools with the Aries.
There you
go.
Did
they have what paperwork do they have to fill out to submit those?
There you go. Well, they're not selling in the U.S., are they?
Oh, yes, they are. Where do you think I got that one from? Jennifer has a black one.
There you go.
Yeah, I do.
Shannon's a rock collector. See.
So yeah, I mean, I'm apparently a device collector because I just opened the cabinet because Paul mentioned a Sigelli 150, and I had to go pull my Sigelli 150 out.
I just give away all my shit. Like when I upgrade, I give away my other smokers. Always get me, and then stuff that is already too low. It's a miracle I still had these batteries right here because I didn't use them anymore. And then when I bought this top, I was like, it's perfect. And I had two of them, But usually something small like that, after I get bored with it, I give it away to somebody who wants to get off cigarettes.
I have every device that I've ever bought.
And that when they buy theirs, I'll have it back, but you never get it back.
Yeah, I have every device that I've ever purchased.
I
pulled out a 10-year-old what's it called? The Cigalite that I sucked on and it fucking made smoke.
Yep, there you go.
Mine's working.
Every device that I have, except for one, still works. And the one is going to go back to the modder who made it, and he's going to fix it. And then all of my devices will work. I'm just surprised that thing still works.
Yep.
But all right, guys, we are we're at the 2 hour, almost 3 hour mark. By the time all the final thoughts get done, we'll be at 3 hours. So, Jen, this is the part of the show where we say goodbye and we ask for final thoughts. So, is there anything that you want to say to punctuate?
And just love one another. Don't let the Rona get you. And it's 2020, y'all.
The worst year ever.
Through this year.
It is 2020. It's going to be 2020 next year. Thank you, Jen.
2021. A totally different year, different rules. You know what I mean?
No, hindsight. So, Jen, personally, thank you for doing what you've done and what you do for other people. You've kind of set my wife onto a rabbit hole of I think fun. She's kind of enjoying this, and every time she opens another one, she goes, "Ooh!" So I like seeing excitement in her eyes because she's bored with me after almost 30 years. So that's something I haven't seen in 25 years. Since the kids were here.
It's fun. It's easy. It's quick. It's something that gives you something new. It's a new toy. It's like pocket.
It's a new toy. Yeah, it is. It's huge to me. Patrick a while back said something. I said I'm a little more nervous about her than I am me if I have to go to SNUS or whatever. She's like, I'm going to go back to smoking. And when I mentioned it to Patrick said we'll keep that from happening. And the other thing. Pardon?
Little did you know that she'd actually enjoy this hobby side.
Yeah, because she just wants to put it on the battery and go. She didn't want to mess with it, and it confused her, and she was stripping, the threads and stuff. So I do appreciate you for what you did, and you literally nailed it on the first try. Now I can tweak it a little bit if I want, which I already have a little, and I'm like, that's pretty good, but hers is still better so far. If I find my way to what I'm looking for exactly, then I'll let you know. But until then, I'm going to pretty much use your recipe. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And everybody else, you guys know I love you all. And Patrick, I'm so grateful you allow us on here. The I Don't Know Nicotine film is important to push for a lot of reasons. A lot of people need nicotine, in my opinion. From what I've read with Alzheimer's, from what I've read, dementia, Alzheimer's, the little girl in Florida who was taking it for her seizures, for other reasons as well, mental health included. It's an important piece that Aaron's taken the time to do, taken a lot of time and a lot of heat to do. So, and Chris, thank you. I'm a bot. So that's kind of important. I've been sitting sideways on that for a while, just because of the Corona thing, and it's we don't know. So when he releases that, I don't know where it's going to be, but if it's somewhere else other than Milwaukee, I may not go, but I'm planning on going. I already bought tickets. So, and I was a supporter of Million Lives as I am with this. Keep your mind open to what you're going to know and what you think you know, even about vaping, because I don't know everything I think I know, especially like the mouth to lung. People like Jennifer teach you that. They teach you how to change it or how to get your hit that you want. And it's amazing how many other people I don't know are doing what they do to help smokers who want to quit. So
can I add a little bit to that? So on Sundays, I am on the Mixin Vixens every week. It's an entertainment show. It doesn't necessarily teach you how to mix. We're entertainers. We're just having fun. And we give out recipes every week. We explain those recipes so you can get some, and we give you places you can go to get more information. But that's Sunday nights on YouTube. It's called the Mixin Vixens.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, you definitely need to promote that.
I'm linking it in the chat.
Put it in the chat there. The whole point of having somebody from the DIY world and to show, because obviously Kevin and I both approached this DIY thing and Jen was able to teach us two different ways to do the same damn thing. There are going to be people that don't want to spend money on a stirrer and fancy scales and beakers and, all of that. And they just want to make it as simple as possible. Well, there's a way to do that, or you can be like me and fall down the rabbit hole and want it to be magic and specific and, you know, detailed. The whole idea is that if doomsday happens and thousands of products get pulled from the market in one day, there are going to be people that will help you keep vaping. There will be people that can help you make e-liquid for your friend that wants to quit smoking. That's the thing is we need, I mean, obviously the DIY world is going to have to blow the fuck up so that there's a DIYer in every hamlet, in every neighborhood, in every street that can provide product for their friends. Because obviously we're not promoting selling product here for the black market, because that's not the point. I mean, it's helping smokers quit. And if, you know, if we have to build a fucking network of mixers that will get on a Zoom chat and step you through how to make your own e-liquid, we'll fucking do that.
Yep.
I know enough people, and I have a Zoom account that 100 people can come in and we will do fucking DIY classes. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I can teach you the basics. Jen can teach you the specifics and the expert level shit. Kevin can probably even get on and explain how to do it the way he's doing it, which is the simplest way, you know, with pre-diluted nicotine and all that bullshit. But there, we, you know, the whole point is if all the fucking thing destroys tomorrow, we're going to be here to help smokers. We are not going anywhere. This show will continue to exist. I don't know where we'll be if we get kicked off of Facebook and YouTube. We'll find a way to do this show.
Isn't there don't you guys have a webpage as well?
We do have a webpage. We will do what we have to do to continue to do what we're doing. And that means that, you know, we need people that are interested in learning, that are interested in teaching, that are interested in helping other people not die. Because ultimately that's what we're doing. We're saving fuckers' lives. Whether, you know, a lot of people are out there, you know, that are, you know, vaping is bad, vaping and blah, blah, blah. We're going to be here to help the people that are open-minded enough to look at what we're doing and to understand that we're just people that want to help, and we're just people that don't want to smoke. And I'm sure there are other people out there that are also not wanting to die, that want to be around for their families in the future, that don't want to die suffocating and gasping for air. You know, we've said this before when the George Floyd was killed. There is no fucking worse way to die than gasping for air. Period. And that's what smoke, I mean, obviously that's what cigarettes do to you in a much slower scale. But at the end of the day, you're going to be laying in the bed and you won't be able to breathe.
Yep.
Do you want people that you know and love to die that way? Do you want the person that you don't know that's walking down the street to die that way? I don't believe that people want anyone to die that way. So we're going to be here. We're going to be here forever if we have to be.
If I have to do it like a beauty show, I'll do a beauty show and say how good the VG is for skin when you vape. You know, it comes out of your. It helps with the wrinkles not coming up.
Is that why I don't have any wrinkles?
Hey, I don't think I look all that bad for almost 50.
You ain't 50, you're 21.
She said almost 50, and I'm almost 50 as well.
I think we're about the same age, Patrick.
And Kevin is like 20 years older than us. And look,
Patrick, you're an old bastard, period. And all women are 21 because they either want to be 21 because they're too young, or they want to be 21 because they're over 21. And that's all I have to say, except for Skip, who's a old broad.
So you know what we need to do is everybody that's in the chat room that knows somebody that smokes, I'm guaranteeing that at least I don't know, 50% of the people in the chat room know at least one person that smokes that wants to quit. I challenge you. Help them. And help them in whatever way they need. Ask them what they want. You know what? We will figure out a way to help them. As a community, as a group, the same loyal people are here almost every week.
Yes.
I'm guaranteeing you that there's enough people in this room that we can find people to help those people quit smoking.
Yep.
If that requires Jen to come up with a custom recipe, or any of the other DIY people that are in the chat room, there are a few of you. You know, that's the whole point.
And so for us, you know, what keeps us DIYing is no longer what I want to vape. Is to find what will get somebody else off cigarettes.
That's why she sent me like 80 bottles of e-liquid to try to find my perfect tobacco.
That's because you're a cantankerous old bastard. That's what's.
And the problem is I
lose. I was not going to lose. I'm not a good loser. So I have to win, and I had to find something that he would say, "Oh, this is good." You know, he still hasn't said that about any of them. He says this is pretty good.
Wait a minute, nailed it.
Now the one that I designed is pretty damn good. Even Jen said it was pretty damn good.
Yeah, I've got it too. I made it. Now there's one that I can't make because I'm missing 2 flavors. But you said you were going to send me some, right?
That's this one. I will send you some. Yes, I need to put it into a. I need to put the
Cherry said she needs help herself. I don't know if that's DIY or not, but
hey, Cherry, you know all of our contact informations. You reach out to us, we'll help you.
Oh, and Paul's
I got you, boo.
Cherry, and I'll help you too.
Paul's willing to hand over all recipes. Now, see, Paul's been doing this a day or two. He scares me just like Jen does. They're like doing witchcraft behind the curtain.
Well, yeah, they got like cauldrons and, you know.
I have hundreds of recipe on ELR, and then I have hundreds that are private.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have the resources. We have people that are willing to help. And, you know, if that requires us buying more nicotine and more PG and VG to make e-liquid to send to people, we'll fucking figure out a way to pay for that. You know, I got people. I'll shake the tree and make more people sponsor us or something. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But yeah.
Hello, Mr. Singh from India.
Mr. Singh, I apologize, but I cannot possibly attempt to pronounce that properly, especially with as much booze as I have in my body right now.
Thanks for joining us.
I love it when people from India join the chat room and comment, because India is, you know, on World Vape Day, we showed how passionate the people of India are. And guess what, folks? No matter how bad we have it here, the people in India, they lost everything in one night.
With no warning.
No fucking warning. The government just came and locked every vape shop in the country.
So it's not about you.
Yeah. I mean, we're at the stage now. You know, if there was a fucking way I could send Mr. Singh e-liquid in India without getting him busted in India for customs violations, we'd figure out a way to do that. But you know, we're at the stage now where we're going to fly the pirate flag proudly and loudly, and we're going to figure out a way to fuck the government up.
Fuck them up. I'm from the Caribbean, so I have my pirate flags.
So yeah, we're busting. We're gonna bust balls. So we're gonna figure out ways to help people not die.
I don't break the laws, but I'm not above breaking them.
There you go.
You know, if I send something to India, I'm not breaking American laws.
Exactly. It's all in perception. It's all in the way you think.
I've given a couple private messages to a certain Thunder from down under about, well, can I send it to you? You know, not lately. It's been a while, but they were under this attack for a while, and now it's coming. 6
Well,
months
they just got a fucking stay. A temporary stay of execution is what they got. and they got a long road to hoe, because January's coming, and they still got a lot of work to do. My Aussie friends are, and we have, I look at the numbers at the end of the week. We have a very big audience in Australia. New South Wales and Victoria are always on our list of top 10 locations of people that listen to this show or watch this show. So yeah, I mean, we're not just fucking flying the pirate flag for America. We're covering the world in a pirate flag. We're going to figure out ways to help smokers everywhere. Yep. I know people all over the world. Paul knows people all over the world. We have friends all over the world, and we will figure out ways to help people not die. That is our only mission now, is to save people's lives. Period. So anyway, love you guys. Thanks for coming. Yolanda, Bruni, Amanda, Cherry, Nicole, Skip, Emily, Shannon, Bruni. Bruni, I already said Bruni. Mr. Singh.
Robin.
All you fuckers that are here. I love you guys for coming every Friday and putting up with me and Kevin being grouchy old bastards, screaming about the miracle of vaping. The weekend is yours. Enjoy it. There's no hurricane this week, so we got to stay on the full length of the show this time. And my house didn't get destroyed. Just remember, you got family, spend time with them, kiss your wife, hug your kids, enjoy your time, because on Monday, the news tickers start again. All the crappy headlines start again. And
I'll be in a hurricane. Pray for North Carolina.
Yes, pray for North Carolina. They're getting some rain soon and some wind. Just remember that the crap headlines, the bad science, the liars are all going to be back to work on Monday too. So be good. Peace. Love you. And we're going to play out with the exit music and the goodbye.
I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
We're exporting a whole lot of really bad and dangerous rhetoric, bad research, and unfortunately, it's being picked up and amplified in other countries.
It's the same battle, Mr. Myers. We've been at it before. They want to addict these kids, this time to an e-cigarette, which has a chemical that's addictive. We know what it leads to. Sadly, it leads to tobacco addiction, disease, and death.
I'm going to get you addicted to nicotine. I have a customer for life. We have hundreds of cases nationwide where people have gotten sick or died using these devices.
Look what they're trying to do. All the delicious flavors of e-cigarettes are poison.
They're not people giving up smoking. They're not people that ever smoked before. Most people that vape never smoked before. Just think if your kid was doing this and winds up with an IQ 10 or 15 points lower than he or she would have had for the rest of her life.
Addiction is being fueled by kid-friendly flavors and kid-friendly cool marketing. It is outrageous that these companies specifically market their bad products to kids. Today, right now, it would appear the wildfire of e-cig use among teenagers, high schoolers, middle schoolers has not let up.
There is a moral panic over it.
There is a moral panic.
And they can't find anything wrong with it, so they're hell bent to find something.
We're worried that, in fact, a lot of members of the public still think that using an e-cigarette is as harmful as smoking a cigarette. I mean, I have said that it would be tragic if smokers didn't quit and carried on smoking because they hadn't tried an e-cigarette, because they were worried about the safety of an e-cigarette.
The most disheartening thing is still the anti-choice rhetoric, the desire to enforce this quit or die mentality and refuse to allow individuals to reduce their risk unless they're willing to give up everything.
I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.